Welcome everybody to our latest session of the Restoration of Cariele. I believe this is session 30, folks. As usual, we'll do a quick recap of what occurred last week, and then we will get underway with tonight's session. So, team, you'll likely recall when we picked up last week, you guys were still inside of the vault. Or, I'm sorry, not the vault. You guys were still inside of the ruins, and you guys were on your way out of the ruins, having experienced some of the most dangerous events recently in your characters' lives. And with the ruins beginning to fall all around you, starting to crash down with the rubble, rock, and so forth crumbling down, you guys beat a hasty retreat out of there and surprisingly had not too difficult a time with it. You guys managed to get out without suffering any additional fatalities or significant wounds. Unfortunately, Jason had perished in the fight before. You guys tried to bring him back to life with that scroll of Revivify that you had found here in the ruins. Unfortunately, it did not work. Fate was not on your side. And with the chance of Jason being resurrected gone, Tavern decided to discard him there in the tomb and make sure he could get out himself. So the team then made their way out, and as all that rubble fell down, again, luckily nothing too close to the team, so team got out safely. Once the team was out, the orb had already been handed over to Mr. Serpentwind, who was very much enamored with it. And there was some ongoing discussion about, could he take possession of the orb right now, or is this something that needed to wait? Originally, you guys had said that you wanted to try to get it identified before he used it, but he did make a pretty good point that if you ran into any trouble, it would be beneficial if he had possession of it and could use it in case there was any issues on the way back to Cerilia. So after a bit of discussion, you guys agreed with that logic and had it identified by Celine and determined that it was the Orb of the Magi, which is a fairly potent item, but certainly nothing earth-shaking or anything like that perhaps you guys may have originally been worried about. As part of this, Mr. Serpentwind also handed over a scroll that he said he had discovered as the ruins were crumbling all around him, and handed that over to Celine. She was able to identify that as well, and it seems that it is a scroll that allows a user that is attuned to it to use a special spell known as Protective Ward, which could potentially come in handy. So with that in mind, the team then did a little bit of resting and then made their way back to Cariele. Once the group made their way back to Cariele, they asked Mr. Serpentwind to essentially meet them there at the castle. He indicated he was very tired, but yeah, he would do that. He said let him go back to his place and get kind of cleaned up and so forth, and then he'd meet the team back at the castle. So the group kind of broke ways there. Tavern also broke ways with the group, letting them know that he had to go check on some things. He then went and checked himself into the temple, where he kind of explained a little bit of the ordeal that occurred inside of the ruins. The temple steward seemed to be very much concerned about this and escorted him to a cell/room, and he was their guest for several days. During that time, various ministrations were done to him, maybe some spell casting, some look-sees, and that sort of thing. And they seemed to say that they thought he was okay, but hard to say because this is a very unusual event, of course. It was approximately after Tavern was released from the temples, several days later, he also realized that he had been under a delusion that he could breathe underwater when he actually could not. So this is some information that he has to himself. Don't think he's necessarily shared that with the rest of the team yet, but some interesting effects on one of our player characters, of course. Rest of the team made their way back to the castle, kind of got settled a bit, got some food, that sort of thing, filled Vin in on all of the occurrences in the tomb. There was some discussion. There was a little bit of chomping at the bit to get things underway, but of course it was late at night and the staff was mostly asleep. There was obviously guards and that still, but most of the, the regular kind of retainer kind of folks that, the daily, lifeblood of an administration, most of those folks were, of course, already asleep at this time. So the team decided to wait up for a little bit, see if Mr. Serpentwind showed up, and if so, kind of chat with him. But some of our player characters were also very tired, and they were kind of already getting ready to go to bed themselves. So a couple folks did stay up. Mr. Serpentwind did not appear that night, so there was maybe a little bit of concern amongst our player characters, but he did indeed show up the following morning and asked for forgiveness, saying he had just conked out as he was very much exhausted from the ordeal in the ruins and then the 8 hours of walking back from the ruins back to Carolinian. But he seemed to be a bit better the next day, having got some more rest in, actually being able to sleep in a bed and all of that. The information was shared with Vin. Vin had no concerns about Mr. Serpentwind keeping the orb. Vin did ask Mr. Serpentwind, though, if he would be willing to do some research. Mr. Serpentwind explained that, research of the nature that Vin asked about wasn't exactly his specialty or forte, but he could put together a proposal and let the council and Vin know what kind of expenses he would need to do that kind of research. So that was considered good enough, and Mr. Serpentwind was allowed to exit at that point. The team again discussed several other issues about exactly how to proceed, and there's some other kind of issues with the petitioners that were floating around. I know there was some last-minute discussions there, figuring out what exactly you guys are going to do. And then we kind of fast-tracked a bit of time here as we got into some downtime, both downtime events and then downtime actions, which we'll see some of the results of that today. And yeah, that is kind of where we left off. So that was a very brief summary. I probably missed a bunch in there. Is there anything anybody would like to add? All right, sorry guys. I am noticing that I'm not hearing you guys, even though I see a light up. One moment. All right, let's give that a shot. Someone say something, please.
Something, please.
Yeah, all right, we are good. So hopefully you guys heard me on that whole recap.
Yes, we did.
Well, we heard you. Yep.
All right, good deal, because that'd have been a whole lot of wasted time if not. But all right, yeah, so that was the quick recap. Did anybody that spoke, I was not able to hear you, so feel free to pop in with anything I missed in the recap.
Okay, I was going to talk about we sent in Serena and Blixel to interrogate Minerva while we were trying to learn a little bit more about Esme. And before we, did anything that we found morally unjust, we figured, hey, let's just question her ourselves. And we found out she was compelled by an evil wizard called the Eyeless One. The Eyeless One is a wizard with bad connotations. There's a temple in the Five Peaks. Apparently Minerva made a deal with this wizard to give her, power or strength or money or whatever to keep her little sect going for Caracian, and instead he put her under what we think is some kind of compulsion to attack and destroy undead just willy-nilly.
Yes, good addition. Go and take inspiration, Vin. And just to clarify, the temple was the temple of Kurayakin that Minerva seemingly was a member of, and she wanted to sort of restore the glory of that temple. And then she also let you know that the Eyeless One had a tower in the Five Peaks, so she went from her temple sect in the Five Peaks to the Eyeless One's tower to ask for his help. But yes, everything else you said was spot on. Anybody else?
We had downtime activities too, I think, and I was able to, through experimentation stuff, learn a potion of superior healing. Yeah, I already have 2 inspirations, but I just thought I'd mention that to the group, that we had some downtime activities to remember.
Yes, indeed. You spent some time researching recipes and blueprints and that sort of thing to learn how to craft superior healing potions. And yes, Dean now indeed knows how to do so.
Serena asked Serpentwind if, since he's now a friend of the council, if we needed his help in the future, would he be able to be called upon? And he said he is a traveler, but that yes, he would consider himself available.
He did indeed. Yeah, go ahead and take inspiration as well there, Serena. He seemed almost overly friendly and indicated that the experience in the ruins was almost like a bonding moment perhaps between him and the group. And I think I saw some text chatter in there about calm down there, Mr. Serpentwind. But yes, he seems like having gone through this very dangerous event has brought you guys closer together, and certainly seems like he'd be willing to help you in the future.
I also ran into an old buddy at the bar. Turned out to be not such a friendly occasion because he is a racist dwarf. So yeah, so that happened too.
Well, to clarify, yes, indeed, you did run into an old friend of yours, both friend of yours and your wife, Dian. But he is a dwarf from Baruch-Ajik, which is the super simplest version, the more traditional dwarves in the southeast. And after letting him know that you guys are friends with a Mercaladian dwarf, which are of course, the dwarves under the thumb of the Gorgon, which are known to be evil, ruthless killers, he was very much not happy about that and couldn't believe that somebody such like that could be allowed on the council. But yes, good addition. And even though you have double inspiration, go ahead and give inspiration to somebody else there, Dean.
Who needs it?
I need it.
Blixel!
Cool, thank you. And I was going to try to add something. I may have missed it because I was trying to fix my chair. But Giselex came back with a bunch of metal for us.
He did indeed. Anything specific you remember about that metal, Blixel?
Yes, it is like it is good against cold. So it's like almost like lava metal, basically. So it is good against cold. So if you make armor from it, it is reduces the damage from cold. And I think if you make a weapon from it, it actually does fire damage.
Exactly. Yep, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, go ahead and take another inspiration if you don't already have it, Blixel, if that'll get you up to 2. Yes, so Giselex did come back. Successful expedition that you guys funded. She brought back 2 cartfuls of Nihiladium, and upon agreement, you guys split it with her. So you guys took 1 cartful, she took the other cartful. And yeah, you guys learned a little bit of properties of Nihiladium, which essentially, much like Blixel just mentioned, it essentially retains heat. So when striking with it, it actually can deal a bit of fire damage from the weapon in addition to the weapon's base damage. And then if armor is made out of it, because of that heat, it reduces cold damage by a small amount, depending on the type of armor that is made from the Nihiladium. Yep, good addition there. Anybody else? All right, hearing nothing else, let's go ahead and get underway, folks. I'm going to deal everybody a card.
While you're doing that, I just want to make sure we do a quick check of the items that we got from that ruin. We found that cloak that, like, you know, it's like the super prestidigitation cloak or whatever. And we found the scroll, right? I don't think we have any more items, but do we know where those are? I think Celine had the scroll because she was studying it, but where's that cape?
Is it the one that's like just
and the mocking blade, correct?
Yeah. Is it the one that's just designed to not like decay, right? That was the only magic on it.
Yeah, it had some kind of charm on it that Celine learned about.
I think Cerilia has it then, yeah.
Does that require any kind of attunement, Adam?
I'm sorry, which item was that?
The cloak, I can't find it in my notes, which is upsetting me because I felt like I was taking great notes with like great organization. But
is this the cloak that was discovered in the ruins that seemingly is always clean even though it was there for many months?
Yeah.
No, this is essentially like a common magic item. It does not require attunement.
Cool. And so Serena's got that? Is that what we said?
Yep. If somebody else wants it, just let me know. Also, I already have 2 inspiration. Is there anybody that needs one?
I only have 1. I don't know about anybody else.
Well, you can have it.
I've got 1, so yep, go ahead.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Blixel.
Sorry, I just had a quick question. For the metal for making the armor and stuff like that, the actual armor itself costs like the amount that it would normally cost, or how does that work as far as like getting a suit of armor made?
It would depend. So in a typical situation, let's say you're not pulling any favors or anything like that, and you're just like, hey, I've got this special metal, please make this this armor out of it. First, you'd have to find a craftsperson that can work with that metal. It's not something that's super common, so you might need more of a skilled craftsman at that point. But it certainly would reduce the cost some because you're bringing your own metal. So I would say in an estimation, you probably can look at maybe like you're paying 75% of the cost of that armor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Alrighty, folks. So with that out of the way, there's a few things I want to go over and make sure that we don't miss anything, because obviously we know we're skipping some days here with the whole downtime until we get to our next domain action, but there's always a lot of stuff going there. So first, as a reminder, Mr. Blixel attempted to gain money by performing songs in the city, and he failed with a minor complication. So this minor complication result is that over the days that you guys are in the city here, spending time either, you know, doing kind of odds and ends or just walking about the city, that sort of thing, you keep hearing this figure talked about, and you're not really sure who it is off the bat, but this nickname seems to be floating around in certain circles amongst the city. It is the Copper Counselor. And after several days, you guys are able to piece together that apparently some more well-to-do people noticed Mr. Blixel there in the city trying to what they call panhandle. And they said, how beneath a counselor. They couldn't believe it. He must be so broke to need money from the city. So they nicknamed him the Copper Counselor, like he needs every copper he can get. So this is sort of a nickname you've heard, and maybe even occasionally, Blixel, if you're around certain more, we'll say, well-to-do merchants or lesser nobles, that sort of thing. You might even notice occasionally some of them kind of looking at you, talking amongst themselves, like, yeah, is that the guy? And kind of chuckling amongst themselves.
I wear it as a badge of honor. I'm not afraid to be of the copper and of the people.
Alrighty, and then Celine, I was looking through. I don't think we ever did your downtime. Am I right? Your downtime action?
We did not. For expediency's sake, I will just try to do the DC 5, get a specific common magic item. I'm looking for a scroll of alarm.
All right, feel free to do so.
You can continue with whatever you need while I'm...
Yep, all right, just track down your macro and go ahead and do that when you're ready, and we'll jump back there. Oh, okay, look at that. Even
nice.
easier. All right, you are successful. All right, that's a nice and easy one. So yes, you have indeed acquired a scroll of alarm. All right, next thing I wanted to review with you guys is we discussed briefly in our Discord the various roles that are essentially like intel gathering roles. As a reminder, this is Chamberlain, General, Seer, and Spy Master. So I wanted to confirm, are the player characters taking those roles? Are they taking some of those roles and not other? Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. I do have intel briefings ready to go for whoever is in those roles.
I have a vote in mind. I think we talked about it already, but like Serena doing general, I know she's already seneschal, so I don't know how you feel about that, Libby, but I could see Serena getting all of the information about troops and troop movements and things like that. That seems befitting.
Yeah, if it's possible to do both, yeah.
I think you can do 2, right, Adam?
Yes, you can do 2 functional roles per player character. Yep. All right, so hearing no disagreement, I'm going to mark Serena down as the general, and I'll reveal that information to Serena. How about Chamberlain, Seer, and Spy Master?
What does the Chamberlain entail?
The Chamberlain is, you can think of this almost as like the executive assistant to the council and to the regent themselves. So they get various bits of information about domestic issues, and they bring those all together for review.
That's not grand enough for Blixel, I don't think.
So what would fit with Dean as the guy, the guild representative? And I also have news because I got word from Marcazaz or Derek
Moriad.
Moriad. Yeah. So it would my liaison with Moriad and my sort of being a representative for the guild, where would I fit, or are those two roles?
So the one functional role I have you listed down for right now is Chief Counselor, which I know is, again, kind of like a title, more or less, but I'm assuming that means almost like the main diplomat is kind of how I interpreted that. That's your only role functional that you have right now, so you can certainly take another role. The guild representative, unless you guys make that official in some way or you define it more, I'm assuming it's just a title.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I'm the diplomat to the guild and now to Moriad, so yeah. Okay.
Is there a list of these somewhere that we can look at, or is it just sort of varies?
It's in general.
Yeah, we discussed it in general. You might have to scroll up a little bit. I
got it. I'll repost it. Hang on one second. I was just reading it.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
So are we to understand that anything that is not one of those four, that the other ones are non-official? I thought the Seneschal, for an example, was an official title.
Seneschal is a functional role. That basically means you are somebody that any issues within the castle that come up, the people are bringing those issues to the Seneschal. So since we have both Celine and Cerilia as Seneschals, that's kind of like double duty, and any issues in the castle would be directed to one of the two of them. Other roles, for example, Master of Ceremonies or Grand Archivist, unless you guys tell me you want that to be an official thing and that's what you're spending a lot of time on, I'm going to assume it's just a title and not a functional role.
I'd like to take the Spy Master, since I don't think that'll be too much. I don't know if my dwarven heritage will interfere with that too much. That's when you guys say all in favor and everyone chimes in green and says, "Yay, that's a great idea, Bill." Yeah.
I second that. I have no problems with that. I think it fits Tavard. He's always sneaking ahead, putting an eye on things. So.
Well, if I have to go stealthy, I can go stealthy, right?
Vin too, But I was thinking,
Yeah, but he loves all that heavy armor and loves to sing in the crowds and stuff. So I don't know.
But Spymaster engages intelligence gathering, receives briefing on foreign issues, and tracks alliances. So that sounds like something Tavard could do easily. Especially because he's trying to be a more passive role.
Would that be more in Dean's world, as he already reached out to to Moriad and then stuff?
So the difference between like a diplomat and a spy master is a diplomat or a chief counselor is somebody who is a very important and regal individual who is, granted the authority by the regent to and deal with other countries above board, right? Like you're the official representative. The spy master is that person in the background that nobody really knows who they are, and they're kind of tugging on all the different spider strings of knowledge all around the nation and kind of getting little bits of information, sometimes from spies or from very unsavory sorts, and kind of sifting through all that information and bringing forward what is actually important.
All right, that's awesome. I'll stay as the diplomat, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to make sure that Vin doesn't say anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said in the chat there, Grand Archivist, I feel like that's kind of more of a title for Celine, considering all of the journal entries and her recording the council sessions and stuff. But in terms of like a role, Celine sounds like a perfect seer.
All right, so let's do one of these at a time. So we've got your general in place. I heard Tavard as far as Spy Master. I'm not hearing any disagreement, so we'll go ahead and go with that. And Tavard, I'm going to reveal the briefing for the Spy Master to you here. Okay, and then Seer, it sounds like Celine's probably perfect for that. Is there any disagreement on that one?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, then I will assume that you have now taken that role, Saline, and I will reveal to you the briefing for the seer. All right, so that leaves Chamberlain. Is there anybody that wants to fill that role, or are you guys looking to hire somebody to do that?
I think that's a hireable role, right? I don't want to see, from Vin's standpoint, he wouldn't want to see any of his friends be his assistant. You know what I mean? He would want them to have like important roles where they're, you know, in their own duties. So he wouldn't want like somebody tagging along with him like a.
Well, I think it's equally important as just domestic.
Yes, and I would say the word assistant, sometimes like people look down on that, but again, this is somebody who's like you can almost think of this as the closest to the right hand of the regent that there is, right? Because they're the person that, you know, maybe instead of the word assistant, you could think of this as I'm thinking, what is that title in American politics, where the person, the chief of staff? There you go. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, there you go.
Almost like
There
a
you go.
chief of staff.
Okay. See, if we put it like that instead of assistant, it sounds way better.
And what's the difference between that and the seneschal?
So the seneschal essentially handles things in the castle. So any issues that come up, they're in the castle, they all get directed to the seneschal. That could be almost anything from staffing in the castle. That could be issues of, you know, protection of the regent or of visiting folks, anybody along those lines. The seneschal is, you know, kind of the first person people go to in the castle where there are issues.
Doesn't sound like we need two of them.
Yeah, it seemed like when we were introduced to the position that it was like a heavy role because we didn't have anything, but I'm down for having just one person do that if y'all want to do it that way too.
Yeah, I don't think we should hire one. I mean, if you want us to do it, I mean, I'll step up and do it too. I have one more ability and one more role I could fill, and that could be it.
Well, I mean, when you put it as chief of staff, Dean sounds like the perfect kind of fit too. He's like the family man, vice president. You know, that sounds like a great thing for him to make sure that anything within the cities is taken
I keep
care
you
of.
more centered in your politics. I'm the guy with the family and smiles.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, he sure is tied down.
All right, so I'm hearing DN for Chamberlain then. All right.
Seconded.
Hearing no disagreements, we will make that official, and DM, I will reveal to you the info briefing for the Chamberlain.
And with the seneschal, do we want just one person to take on that, or do we want to hire someone to do that?
My first choice is to hire. My second choice would be I could do it because I didn't think Celine was super pumped about it.
I agree. Celine doesn't sound super pumped about it. I mean that sounds like a position that we could hire because none of us know how to run a castle.
So here's an odd thought, right? You know, maybe have an assistant seneschal and maybe consider that one lady that seemed like a go-getter and everything like that. And maybe, but she didn't like working for the captain, and I can't remember the name, so my apologies. But maybe have her be an assistant to the seneschal as kind of a promotion, but also have somebody who's actually rank and file that you can get some inside scoop on things.
Yeah, but having a military leader turn into a castle manager, that might require some good persuasion.
Right, but that person reported eventually like 2 levels down or 3 levels down to the seneschal anyway, is what I was thinking.
All right. I'll do it.
Oh, there we go.
I'll trick out this castle. Let's do it.
That does sound like a good fit now that we think about it. Blixel doing seneschal.
First things first, we're changing the guards' uniforms.
And we're putting placards on every door.
They all say
That's
not the treasury, right?
That's right.
All right, so it sounds like Blixel is going to take on that seneschal role. So Celine, are you like abandoning the seneschal role?
I wouldn't say abandoning so much as, bequeathing it to someone for whom it's more suited.
Fair
Queefing.
enough. All right, so I've got Belixo with the non-functional title Master of Ceremonies, and then functional Seneschal. Saline is the title non-functional Grand Archivist, and then the Seer is functional. Dian is functional Chamberlain and functional Chief Counselor. Serena is functional General and functional Seneschal, and Tabard is functional Spy Master. So each of you guys should have had your briefings reviewed. Think of this as information that has been gathered and then delivered to you. It doesn't necessarily come on a specific day, right? So don't think like this is stuff that you have to drop everything, but these are informations that are gathered and then reported to you.
Any cool briefing for the Regent? Almighty Lord.
Unfortunately,
Oak
no.
Master.
That's why you rely on your council to bring you briefings, right? Okay, so
You just worry about getting your baths on time.
all right, so with that complete, the next thing I wanted to move to is you guys had previously said that you wanted to observe Esme West as she tried to gather information from Minerva. So give me an idea of exactly what that means. How much time are you willing to dedicate to that task? You guys have already hired her. You've already paid for her services for a month. So give me a better idea of like how you're monitoring her.
Well, I would say it probably wouldn't just be one prisoner. It would be any prisoner that we would deem to have important information. We would want to see her tactics of gathering said information over the course of the month. So I don't know if it would maybe just be 2 or 3 or something along those lines, but I could see then every now and then maybe having her come and say, okay, so this is the story with this guy, and then he goes down with her, or sends some guards with her or something along those lines. But I
Did,
assume he can't watch every single one.
does she object to us like observing her work?
She seems a bit uncomfortable, but she doesn't necessarily object.
I mean, I can go invisible and watch.
Wasn't that the whole point, to see what she does?
Yeah, Blixel will go invisible and try to watch her. And if you guys are cool with it, first and try on the murderer person.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, Adam. I mean, I think between the 6 of us, we would split up duties of keeping, all participating and putting eyes on it, so we can each have a fair discussion about whether or not to bring them on.
Okay, so I will say it this way then. So Blixel, if you are invisible, she doesn't know you're there, so you're kind of just watching through this barred door. I think of like a cell door, and Miss West is in there with Minerva, and what you notice is you have invisibility for an hour, so this interrogation goes on much longer than that. So what you notice for an hour is Miss West talking to her and asking what you would consider to be very banal questions. So it seems to be primarily around what Miss West calls the 3 F's: fashion, food, and family. So she's asking about, oh, what kind of clothes do you like? And hey, have you ever eaten at this restaurant or this tavern? Isn't that really good food there? And oh yeah, I have a sister. How's your fit? Like these are the kind. It seems completely unrelated to any kind of information gathering.
Okay. I mean, I'll burn like multiple spell slots if need be, just to keep eye on it. Just if it all is the same after the second invisibility, though, he just leaves.
It
This
is.
boring.
Okay, yeah. So very, very basic kind of stuff. She, Miss West, will assume a day essentially goes by of that, and she reports to you guys that there is a lot of information she feels that Minerva has, but it's going to take a good amount of time for her to get it. So she says, just be patient and don't hound her, and she will get the information eventually.
Yeah, Blix will report back to everyone, sort of let them know. Yeah, she was just asking her really boring stuff for hours.
I think we just allow her to do her thing. She's on a provisional hiring right now anyways, and if we're unsatisfied, well, we fire her and tell her her services are not needed.
I guess.
We're getting scammed.
She better give us some good information, though. For 96 gold or whatever much it was. All right, yeah, and I definitely don't want to go back there and watch that again. I almost made noise because it was so boring. I think I fell asleep.
All right, so assuming you guys let Miss West kind of do her thing, not being observed any longer, she will spend multiple days doing that. So I'm going to put that in the background for a moment. Before we continue with like fast tracking days, I want to do a quick double check on any kind of petitioner responses, or you guys did notice that you received a response from the Moor. So is there any immediate action you want to take on that before your next council session? Keeping in mind, we're going to fast track to the next council session, which is a couple of weeks at least. It might be 3 weeks. So if there's an immediate thing that you want to respond and you guys want to like pull a special session of council sort of before, you can certainly do that. If not, you want to just wait till the next session, you can do that as well.
I think we.
I
Did you share his letter with us and everything? Do we know all that information?
I'm assuming
Ian,
that
did you
unless
share?
Dean says specifically no.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I would like to request like very detailed map of like that not only the towns but like the mountain ranges and in our country and
call.
surrounding countries.
I like that. Great call. And I'm sorry, Dean, did you say that you did not tell us about the letter back from
Well,
Moriad?
how long do you say I have to wait? I mean, 3 weeks before we gather again. So yeah, I mean, if this is pretty exciting news, so I would definitely share it, but I have not shared it yet.
So to give you a bit of an idea, remember there are 32 days in a month in this world. Right now, you guys are essentially on, based on the few days we passed already, you guys are on the 28th of Keltier at the moment. Your next council session is not until the 20th of the next month of Faniel. So you have basically about 3 weeks before you'll be in council, like the actual official council session.
Okay. Well, I will call. I will walk up to Vin and call for a special council meeting with Lord Tannen only, and the 6+ Tannen, if we need him, would gather around because I have news.
Okay, and just super high level, Vin, are you approving that and pulling everybody together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I'm going to move you guys over to the council chambers.
Blitzuary. That one of the main things the Chamberlain's gonna try to install as a new month in the calendar.
It's an extra one, on top of the ones that already exist.
Yeah, we just fit them in there
Yours are
Day by-
longer now.
day by day.
Look, I also want to point something out while we're settling into the council chambers that we need to go over birthdays, right? Because if we're going, month after month, obviously we're gonna pass some birthdays here. So we need those written down, and we need, Master of Ceremonies is gonna throw some dope birthday parties. Vin just had his. His is the Eve of the Dead, which is at the beginning of the month of Keltier. So Vin's birthday just happened.
Just tell me if you're allergic to something.
So I don't know. You guys can look at the calendar on your own time, but we should install that too.
I think we should meet more than once a month.
Aye, Serena, I'd have to agree. But perhaps we could maybe do one sooner in the month too. That sounds, at least until some things settle down a bit and we get the hang of it.
For sure.
Alas, but Dean, you said you wanted us to gather.
Yes. First off, thank you everyone for gathering in such short notice. But I've got a response from Lord Derek Moriad from my correspondence with him a while ago, and I will read it aloud, and you can read it here.
Oh, this is great news.
Aye. Aye. Well, let's address the first. It says that he has a thief that stole something from one of his noblemen and then escaped into Cariele. We can only assume that they came the way of Melavine.
Yes.
Should hop right on that.
Aye. Well, Dean told me a couple of days ago, before the meeting, and I was thinking about it. Well, we can't afford to send an entire guard regiment, but what if we sent a few specific guards? Maybe an adventuring party?
Where are we gonna find an adventuring party at this time of night?
Vin
Oh, I
smiles and looks at you.
we,
I actually just met one. Fafnir Osland. A Rejuic man, so you know you can trust him. You know, every third day of the month, or third day of the week, I go down to the Hogshead with Destrian and Arthur. Well, he was there. His current group is traveling through Cariele. It appears that they're looking for their next adventure. We spoke, and it seems like I and him got along well. I'm sure we could ask him to look into two things. The first being that thief, and the second, didn't we talk about one of the petitioners, the dwarf, who wanted to investigate the tunnels under the stone crowns? Well, couldn't we send them?
so you tell this guy about Jason?
I left that out.
All right.
My other suggestion is we send Arthur, who's shown that he is great at investigation. I like him a lot. He's a stand up guy. We know we can trust him. Have him take a few guards and track this guy down.
And if anything happens to Arthur, we'll never forgive you.
If anything happens to Arthur, I'll never forgive myself. He's a great lad.
How hard it can be to apprehend a thief? I like that idea.
Aye.
Yeah. Justice must be served.
As a show of good faith to Moriad, I think it's essential that we get right on that. I mean, as we know with Var, who nearly killed myself, if it wasn't for my brother's intervention. But he was quickly gone, made his way through Rendell, stole some kind of smithing stone, and took off. So this thief could be anywhere within our beautiful home.
Or outside of it, depending on how long ago this happened. But yes, we should get someone on the trail as soon as possible.
Maybe the rat people know where he lives.
No, but it'd probably be good for us to reach out to them.
Yeah. Any of you know shady people or deal with shady people? Looks accusingly at everybody.
Only the company I'm currently with.
No one's in this room.
Well, you know, my friend Franco, I mean, he was working there over at the, you know, that arena, that, you know, unsanctioned arena. I mean, I could reach out to him. Maybe he knows some folks that maybe in that line of work.
Good idea.
We should also inquire upon if anyone's trying to sell the mithril breastplate.
That's a good point. I personally think the guardsman would be the best bet because it would be official from us. It would show good faith to Moriad. Us sending mercenaries or something like that may seem like we put the problem off, but sending a few of our guards to track him down and arrest him, that sounds like something that I would consider noble.
But we know his name. We know he's trying probably to sell the breastplate. So it would take, what, a couple days to find this guy.
Aye. And if we could get word out to a few of the cities to let them know to be on the lookout for someone selling that mithril breastplate, it may lend us a hand in catching them.
You could put that woman in charge, the woman that wanted to be chief. give her a couple of guys, say, hey, solve this problem, test her. But we really want to make this happen. So whatever we can do, let's make sure we make friends here.
Aye. So we're all in agreement that we'll send some guards to track down this thief and this breastplate and return it to them.
Seconded.
Agreed.
Yeah, you may wanna. Are you gonna set them in standard uniform though? I mean, if they're gonna be going into some areas that could be kind of, you know, shady or something like that, maybe having them in an official uniform may not be the best.
We can tell Arthur or whoever we suggest to do it to use their discretion on how to capture them. Maybe not just wearing a tabard out there and showing off. Sure, that sounds like a good plan. But we'll make sure they're apprehended. And the second thing on the list there, the emissary. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I was to kind of put a final note about the stolen what is it called, mithril breastplate. That's an heirloom. First order of business probably to inquire upon the local shops and see if anyone has tried to sell such item, or if it might be one that's already been bought and it might be hanging on the wall behind them too. As far as the emissary, Chamberlain Blixel, do you think there's enough room to set up a space for our emissary from Moriad that would feel comfortable in your castle?
Wow. He's not getting in the cast.
Oh, okay. Well, what are we?
Where would
What's our thoughts
where
on
would
that?
you
Then?
suggest he stays, Blixel?
What's wrong with him being in the castle?
Yeah, you gonna rent him an apartment?
He wants to make money off of it.
I say the closer the better.
No. He just needs to find a place in the city.
There's 74 bedrooms in this place.
And we're going to fill them up with ambassadors before you blink your eyeballs if you're not careful.
If we're lucky.
We don't want them to be in our business. You know what I mean? These people, you got to wine them and dine them and then send them home.
Oh, an emissary is specifically here to be in the business we allow them to be in. It's a show of good faith. We'll
He
speak to
just
them
says,
about
he's,
anything that involves our two countries.
yes, but he only wants him to live in the capital. That's all he says. He knows. We don't want him to be here.
Why? He's our ally.
It literally
We could learn
says,
a
I
lot.
don't ask for a seat on your council or be involved in the inner workings of your country. It's only to
Yes.
expedite future dealings specifically with Moriad.
And things are all peaches and cream right now with us and him. But what if that changes? And what if his ambassador is in here listening?
Okay. Alright, well, you keep that kind of attitude, alright? I like it. Weasel out those spies, Blixel.
Yeah, it
However,
is. We're not going to do anything he's not asking. We'll find him lodging in the city, provide it to him, and say, hey, come visit.
but we'll have to pay for said lodging. We just give him a room on the second floor. I think that's fair.
I think if you give him lodging downtown and everything, that's kind of a slight on him and their kingdom. I mean, that may not go over too well.
I disagree. I feel like they are happy to have an ambassador and emissary living amongst us here. They should see what it actually is like to live here.
So you want to say, hey, we have like 15 extra rooms, but you can't have it. We'd rather pay for you to live downtown.
Well,
Doesn't really make much sense.
I think there's Embassy Rows, right? There's places outside of the White House where dignitaries go. They definitely do not sit in the White House or the
Wait,
castle.
they don't live in the White House?
Yeah, so it's like there's a good points, right? That's why we brought it up. In fact, in other campaigns, there's places where ambassadors live in the rich neighborhoods and stuff like that. It definitely would cost us more to do it, but he wouldn't get into any workings. He wouldn't know that our ale is stale or that our gardens are unkept. All those things. I'm leaning. Blixel has a good point, and I don't think we should discard his argument so quickly.
Is Tannen in the room, Adam?
Yes, you guys asked him to do so he's kind of at the end. And I heard someone say at this time of night. So are we presuming this was like we're late in the evening and this was like a real off hours kind of deal?
That was a bit. I don't know if it's actually night.
I'll let you
No,
guys decide.
This is business hours, so we don't have to pay him extra to stick around.
All right. I was gonna say you see him yawning in the corner, but if it's during the day, yeah, he's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Tannen, does anything like this exist here? Do we have spots for ambassadors and things to live?
Not specific housing units for ambassadors that I'm aware of. The previous administration was not exactly open to receiving visitors and things. The guild has often lavished gifts and fine dining and treatment and such on people they've deemed to be important to their efforts.
And I was looking over the breakdown of Miele's titles that you gave me. Could you explain to me what the hell is the source of Meso and the Northlands Exchange? What is that?
These are the names of the different guilds. Each one is in a different province, but it's essentially like a figurehead, you might think of it as each one of those rolls up to her. So you almost could think of it as 3 separate companies with 3 separate names, but the companies are all run by the same person.
DBAs, huh? I see. Well, I would like to, I think you all make great points. First being, it's not common for them to live in the castle. I didn't know this. I was like, we got 72 bedrooms. We might as well fill them. However, there's great points, but we don't have anywhere for them to go. And I do not want to spend a coin to put him up in the hogshead for years. So, here's my proposal. Proposal 1. We put him in here in the castle for now. And proposal 2, when we can meet again at an official council session, we talk about building something along those lines. A headquarters for ambassadors, a row of housing or something along those lines. If we have them built, then we could use them. But as of right now, we don't have them built. So, I vote he stays in the castle for now.
Me too.
I find that reasonable. Or we look for in the noble quarters or somewhere in this wonderful city of ours where rich people stay. Maybe he could stay there. But make sure we meet with him, maybe once a week, have him over or more often than that. And but temporarily keep him here. Agreed.
And what about the one we send to them? It's not like we have a beaming court full of people who could do this. I have
Well,
an idea, but it's it's a stretch.
well, go on.
Tegan. She should be there in Moriad already. Someone we trust. And it would put her in a position we know she would be safe. And we would be able to communicate with those family members of ours that we hope to find safe.
Did we ever actually establish that they made it there okay?
No. Not to my knowledge.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm planning to respond to this correspondence, and in doing so, I will acquire upon Tegan's manner and result of her trip to Morid and her whereabouts, upon which the possibility of mentioning she would also gracefully be our emissary without asking her.
She'd have to accept the position, of course, but still. In terms of people to send, I can't think of anyone I trust more.
What about your mom?
It's risky. Miele knows what she means to me. If I move her to another country, it may upset her. Besides, Destrian's watching her. If they try anything, I've been giving him word to cut their heads off.
Should we send for our families to return here to the castle?
'Tis your call.
That's a
My
good
family is
idea.
gone.
Well, I already have, so obviously I would agree with those things.
Of course, I would support all of that. And Celine, getting in touch with your grandparents, I'm sure, is important to you.
Yes, but you'll recall that they did not go with the group to Moriad. We don't know what
Aye,
happened to them.
which means there's an empty hamlet, so perhaps they could return home.
We don't even know if the hamlet still exists. The guild may have burned it to the ground.
Well, we should look. It's not like that's out of our reach now. If it's available and built and not burnt to the ground, well, they can
I
go
could
home.
send some scouts around. Check on that kind of stuff.
I agree. Also, based on where the current troops are. Hang on.
You sure the guild won't still hurt them?
Well, Miele and I made an agreement not to interfere in anyone's business. I don't touch them, they don't touch ours, so to speak.
So to speak, or she said that. I'm not going to put my mother in danger on a hunch.
It's not a hunch. It's hoping that they don't break their agreement, because if they do, then, well, our only reaction would be to break our side, also.
I'd find it safest if they were in the castle.
I have no
with us.
problem with that, of course.
We can certainly invite them to do so, but a lot of them were like country folk. I don't know how well they would prosper in the city. Like, what are we going to do? Just keep them as wards of the state, or they'd have to find some way of having fulfilling lives or something here.
And
It's possible that the provincial life is all they've ever known and it's all they want. Of course, our immediate families is probably important to keep safe, but beyond that, I don't know how I feel about forcing them to come to a place that they may not want to come to.
well, Serena and Blixel, you could bring your families here just like Dean brought theirs, but I would have to agree with Celine. You know, there was probably 30 people that lived in that hamlet, excluding our family. There's probably 5 or 6 other families.
I don't think anybody said anything about forcing anyone. It would just be an invitation.
Don't you have a sister?
Oh, shit. I forgot. Maybe we talk about that another time. Another council meeting or so.
All right.
Who has a sister?
It's going in the songs, though. Warning you.
We'll talk about that later. But what I was saying is, our troops. Right now we have 2 units in Riverford and 1 in Melavine. We could move one to Mountain's Edge.
Well, I
Um,
mean, just to scope out a town, I feel like just a scout would be sufficient.
Well, I'm only saying we move a unit simply because it would give us the ability to have more coverage in more places to make sure that these things don't happen.
My lord, I would suggest we keep the troops in Riverford, and I have some other pressing news, but not to overwhelm the council at this moment. But the Riverford detachment needs to be kept in place.
Well, there's 2 detachments in Riverford, an archery and an infantry unit.
Well, that concerns me greatly. Where have they been? Particularly the archery detachment.
I'm assuming our newly installed general will probably have more information about that in a few days' time. But let's finish up the current thing here with the emissary. I vote that we find Tegan and see if she would be willing to be that emissary. I think she would be a perfect fit. But if she rejects, do we have any other options?
I will second that. However,
And
no
emissary,
options come to mind.
emissary for us.
Aye, they send one to us and we send one to them.
No, I will
Sure.
also caution that there has been no. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, never mind. I read it now. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So Tegan, I second that.
Sounds good to me.
Alright, but still, Tegan may turn it down, which she is in her right to do. I do not want to force anyone into servitude. So we may need to find a backup. Tannen, do you mind maybe looking into some suitable people for that role?
Who could be an emissary to Moriad, my lord?
Aye. It's
Yes,
not like one of us could do it.
No, I would not suggest so. No, it would be difficult to be a counselor and an emissary. Yes, let me see who it is that I might be able to track down. I have a few ideas in mind just from experience in dealing with individuals, but I'll have to gauge their interest in such activity.
Aye. Well, there we go. Everybody agreed? Sound good?
Sounds good to me. And at the same time, when we send that message, can we have my mom come back and live with us here?
Aye. And Serena's? We have a doctor we know personally now who we could probably have look into your mother. It's your mom, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. She was in bad shape, so I'm not sure if she's still with us or if she'd be able to complete the journey. But I'll definitely write a letter that if she has improved, and my brother are welcome to move into the castle.
So I'm Dian's taking notes on parchment. So Serena, your mother and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the Hamlet. So your mother and your brother, you said?
That's correct.
Oh, do you remember their names? Sorry.
That was a very low blow for somebody who doesn't remember 5 years of their life. But I will look the other way in the interest of politeness. My brother's name is Alistar, and my mother is not named.
That's what I was laughing at because it probably was a long ass time ago. But I remember Alistar. Yeah, okay. But mother's name. Want to give me a name?
I have her
Mom.
token literally called Serena's mom.
Mrs.
Okay.
Dongard.
What's that?
She's Mrs. Dongard to you.
Okay, I'll put Mrs. Dongard on my letter.
When we were growing up, if we caught her anything else, she would hit us with the other end of the cabbage thing.
And Blixel's mom. Is there a specific name I should mention in this correspondence with Moriad?
Uh-oh, Blixel's mom does have a name. Does Blixel remember it?
Mom.
Uh-oh.
It is Gadila.
Good deal. I'll write that myself.
Gadilla. Oh, there it is.
I threw it in chat, yeah.
You know, Blixel, Serena, in the message that Dian sends, you could probably send a personal letter too if you'd like, just to be sure they, if they are alive and well, I'm sure that'd be welcoming.
Yeah, for sure. Do we need to put some money together with it? Because I'm sort of broke. The playing music didn't work out very well.
I was thinking that. I was going to wait until the next council session, but I believe we could take some money out of the treasury and make sure your pockets are filled so you can handle your own affairs if need be.
Sure.
I'll take care of that because we should also pull some money out in case we need to pay some groups to take care of some stuff for us. So we should have a stack of gold handy, you know?
I like it. I like talking about gold and stacks.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we have those two things taken care of, so Dean, will you please fill us in on your news from Riverford or whatever it was?
Yes, of course, my lord. There are some things I've heard in the last few days since we've been back. A couple of things aren't necessarily pressing. One particularly is. You see, I've had word that there's been a group of loggers in the northeast Riverford region. These loggers, as we all assume, potentially or 100% guaranteed to be working for the guild. Sometime in the last couple of weeks, their bodies, 11 in all, were discovered by a traveling merchant. Based on the wounds that I've been told, it looks like they were killed by arrows. But there weren't any arrows discovered at the site of the crime. I don't need to say this, my lord, but because you know, but I will do so as a matter of record. And I look at the Celine. The guild is not going to be happy about this, and will likely try to exert pressure on you, Lord Glandinel.
Was there any indication that they could have been attacked by goblins?
No, nothing that I've in my intelligence briefing. It's there were no. They looked like they were killed by arrows, but there weren't any. There were not any arrows discovered at the site of the crime.
So
You
the
said
bodies were moved.
northeast?
Yes, my lord.
Northeast is on the border of Torhivo. Avale, if I remember.
No, Thurazor.
It's probably those giant bugs.
Just the northwest.
Remember?
There wouldn't be, my lord. There wouldn't be any. Forgive me if I think the worst initially. Wouldn't be. We wouldn't be responsible for those arrows. Do you think, with our detachment in Riverford, or two detachments?
I know they have not been given orders to strike down anyone, so if anything like that happened, then it would have been outside of any orders given. Now, north, northeast was close to Torville. Now, if we're thinking about goblins versus elves, I don't think goblins would be smart enough to remove their arrows after a scene of the crime. But elves, I wouldn't put it past them to hit and run. But it sounds like no matter racially how we want to look at this, it could have just been humans. It sounds that if they're removing the arrows, they didn't want it to come back to them.
That's clear, my lord. The previous count, he left in great haste and in the grievance of the transition to your council. Would there be any reason to suspect that he might want to frame you for causing a war between you and the guild?
I mean, it could be potentially that it was Intia's troop as they made their way into Doson. But if that was the case, two things are a problem with that. One, why would he attack guards or loggers that were not instructed to strike him down? And two, uh, if he wanted to frame us, he would have left obvious signs of it being us and not remove the ammo that was done in the slaying. If you want to frame someone, you leave evidence that it was them, footprints, a dagger well placed, maybe a calling card or something, right? But I would think that he would cut through the middle of Riverford. It would be the shortest path into Doson, directly to Sonarlead.
Hmm. I wonder if we could send word to the troops in Riverford just to, unless they're busy, to go and give us some more specific account for what happened at the logging camp.
They are
General,
going to be busy soon, because the reason I brought up goblins is because there is a goblin cavalry and a unit of goblin archers amassing along the Thurzor Cariele border.
Hmm.
what part of the border? In Riverford or closer to Melavine?
Marigote and Dooms Peak.
Aye, so further south?
Oh, I think it's just west, right? I
Oh,
mean, we're gonna
straight
send
west.
scouts out.
Okay. Aye, well, let's see. Our troops are. I had it here. Hang on, let me. It looks like our troops are. Look, we have an archer unit in Melavine, an infantry unit in Mountain's Edge. We have an archery and infantry unit in Riverford. Perhaps we
Can
could
you,
move the troops to the border. Maybe. Adam, is it possible? Could you? Because it's hard for me to look at all the maps and the domain sheet. Could you change the council background to a map background for us?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I was trying to look at those maps in the last 10 minutes, but I can't make them big, you
Yeah,
know?
I can't zoom in close enough. All right, perfect.
Just as an FYI, the regional map should be the best one for you for that. If you pull up the regional map handout and then you actually click on the picture itself, it should blow it up real big for you.
Okay, thank you. So, all right, we have 2 units in Riverford already, and we have 1 in Melavine. However, if we move one from Mountain's Edge over, we're going to expose our back end there, and that's exactly where we've heard rumors of things in the mountains, where Usk is hearing the Fomorians. Do you have an idea of how many units, General?
how many units of goblins?
Yes, you said cavalry and infantry, I believe, or archery.
Yeah, one each in Marigorte and 2 more units in Dooms Peak, but those are estimates, so we need to send out some scouts to confirm.
I wonder why they would be coming.
We just know they're increasing their armed units, so we want to keep tabs on it.
Lord Tannen,
Yes, yes, my lord.
do we know if Intia and the previous count, did they have anything to do with Thorazor? Any deals that were being made that maybe we've been ignorant of?
Not your uncle, no, but dealings with the guild, yes, I'm sure that there were some. Thurazor is a very, well, it's a goblin kingdom, so that says just many volumes there. But in addition to that, the guild here in Cariele has always done what they can to try to make money, and well, Thurazor, of course, is willing to do almost anything to make money as well.
I see. And what of that guild representative? Have they made their way over yet?
Well, it just so happens that I have received word that they are expecting a private meeting at our next full session of council.
Perhaps we can inquire to have a special meeting with them sooner. 3 weeks away while we have soldiers amassing on our borders does not sound like an ideal time for us to just lollygag a meeting with this guild rep. If the guild needs help defending themselves, we need to know why.
Well, my lord, the land is yours to protect, so the forces in Thurazor, should they declare war and attack, the guild won't be the ones fighting them. It would be expected that you would defend your land.
I have no problem with that, and I'm sure everyone here would agree with us to protect our home. But what I'm saying is if we can understand why we're being attacked more, then it will help us understand how to defend ourselves better. If there was a deal that was broken, perhaps. Maybe if we're losing, we could offer the money in exchange, etc., etc. But if we just go into a war blind with our soldiers fighting for no reason, what kind of lord does that make me look like?
Well, the reason would be defending our home, but the raids from enemy armies are bad for business. So if I see an angle here where it would be in the guild's best interest to support us, maybe not militarily, but economically. If it did break out to fighting, um, they don't want that kind of instability on our border, I would say.
I agree. I agree. All I'm trying to say is, of course, we would defend our land and they would be defending. But how would it look to the provinces around us if the reason why Thorazor was attacking us was because we didn't hold up our end of the bargain? We overextended our reach. We killed a leader of theirs, right? We need to make sure that when we're defending ourselves, of course we know why, but also from a legal standpoint, I guess, or a council standpoint, or running this region and province, we need to know those reasons also.
I can't say for sure, my lord, that the guild representative will have any knowledge, or even if they do, that they would necessarily share it with you. But if you wish, I can certainly reach out and try to get the meeting expedited.
I think that would be best. I mean, I'm sure they would want it to be defended nonetheless, but at the same time, I don't feel right without knowing why. Going to war for no reason other than to defend yourself. I mean, if that's the case, then we'll raid into Margaret and Doom's Peak ourselves and take them over and extend Cariele to the east. If they want that, then sure, they can have it.
You notice Lord Tannen kind of looks at you and blinks a couple of times. Well, as far as the meeting goes, my lord, today, of course, is the 28th of Keltier. When would you like the representative to try to get here for a special meeting?
Vin looks around to the council members.
I'm sorry, I went to go pee. Is this for the guild representative to come visit us?
They requested a private meeting, so we're just
Okay.
seeing if we can move it up a little.
Yes, let's move it up. This is of most importance. We should make sure that we are in good open communications with the guild, particularly if these events in Northeast Wiverford have proven to be, they deem it as a hostile towards their loggers.
In addition, we have goblins amassing on the border of Thorazor, so we need that communication to happen fast. So, what do you think, guys? A week?
Aye.
Sure.
Okay. Tenon, if that's possible, will you set it up?
1 week's time. I see. So let me just check the calendar here. So we would be looking at the 4th of Faniel. Yes, I will see if I can get the rep to commit to that day.
Perfect. In terms of the first thing that you brought up, Dean, I think we send a unit to investigate. I understand what you're saying about being framed, which we need to make sure it's not, but the information that you've been given, it sounds to me like somebody did a hit and run, and perhaps it was in retribution for the guild extending their reach. What do we know on that northwest region? Or northeast?
Northeast region. There's nothing further, my lord. I do think that's very wise and prudent of you to decide to do so, particularly when the guild comes and it's brought up by them. We would be able to rightfully respond in truth that we've heard about it and have hastily investigated ourselves to make sure there's no further damage to the loggers.
Well, in addition, loggers working for the guild or not, they're Carolinians being killed while they're just performing their duty, whether they were loggers or apple pickers or sheep herders. We can't allow rogue bands of archers to kill our civilians. So we'll need to track down who did this.
And my lord, and I'll look over at Lord Tannen and see if he's in earshot, and he's not. I'll say, you know my position on the guild, my lord. Maybe there is a group or a larger group that seems to be an adversary to the guild, and potentially we could organize better their efforts.
He'll shake his hand. He'll shake his head at you and kind of look around the room. General, thank you for your report. All right. Well, we have units already. Perhaps we stir them from the barracks and at least get them prepped along the border. We don't want to show weakness of any kind.
Well, our recommendation is to put a unit of scouts in Melavine, so we can get more information and see exactly what's going on. So
I agree with that. Moving multiple units of soldiers in the area, it could be seen as an escalation. We need to figure out why they're doing this if possible. If that's possible, we should get what information we can before we commit.
Okay, I hear you. But at the same time, you said that they're massing along the border, they're just chilling around. There's units that have been spotted. Could you be more specific?
I said they've increased their armed units along the border.
Okay. So scouting does sound like the best option. You know that lady, that petitioner that we've all been talking about in this meeting so far? What if we have her assigned to that unit? That sounds perfect for her. A little bit of a position of power while we investigate that captain and their age. In general, I think you should look into that.
Will do.
Well, all right. Well, here's what we got. We'll send a scouting unit led by, and I'll look over at Celine. What's her name?
Last name Cleaves. I think the first name was Emmeline or something like that. Started with an E.
All right. And I guess she was like a lieutenant, right, Adam?
And this is where I will point out that just recently, in fact, I've made a new area accessible to you guys. So if you go to player handouts and then the NPCs folder, you'll see a petitioners folder. And under the 1521 Keltier, you'll see full list handout. If you go ahead and click that, it is going to be a brief summary of every petitioner that you guys met with, any pre-meeting notes that you guys had, or any post-meeting notes. And obviously this was all done, as best I could. So if anything's missing, feel free to let me know. But this should be a good recap for you guys of all of the different folks that you met with and any kind of high-level details from those.
Okay.
Nice.
Man, earning his money.
Perfect. All right. So we'll have Emmeline Cleaves take a unit of scouts along Melavine and investigate more, and we'll get some more information. At the same time, look into the current captain of Riversford and make sure he's fit for duty, especially if we have war on our border. And then finally, we need to send another unit of investigators rather than scouts to go look into the deaths of those loggers.
All right, so as a reminder, we're slowly rolling out some of these domain rules so as not to totally overwhelm you guys early. But as we are now starting to discuss armies and units and that sort of thing, going to reveal a few more handouts for you guys. So under the domain rules, under armies and warfare, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the armies and warfare handout. This is sort of a high-level summary of how armies work here in Cerilia. So again, you don't have to read all of these right now, but if you have time whenever to read through them, it would be great. I'm also going to reveal to you the unit types. This is going to explain all the different types of soldiers, at least the most common ones that are available here in Anweer. Some may not be available in every province or every area, but it will show you how much it is going to cost to hire them. That is the muster cost. That's how much this is to form that unit of troops. And then maintenance costs, you have to pay every season to keep them. That's like their pay, right? So think of that as just keeping them on staff. And then this one I don't think will be critically important yet, but I will go ahead and reveal the castles handout just so you understand how castles impact warfare eventually. And again, reminder, don't have to read all of this right now, but this is all available for you as you choose to read it.
I was feeling like the information so far was light, so thanks, Adam.
Yes, I wanted to make sure if I just dropped everything on you right away, you guys would be like, oh, I don't want to read this novel, and I would totally get that. So I'm trying to just, strip a little bits at a time. So to put this in context, what your general has recommended is that you guys muster a unit of scouts. If we look at our unit types handout that was just revealed, you can see that scouts have a muster cost of 2 gold bars. You would essentially try to hire these folks. It does take some time for them to be up and ready to go. They aren't just instantly formed, of course, but you would then muster that unit. It would become a new unit of troops that is under your command, and it would be 2 gold to muster, or 2 gold bars to muster them, 1 gold bar maintenance cost per season.
I think we're definitely going to want to expand our units for sure.
All right. Well, I guess this is an approval meeting for expenditure of the amount of money it would take to hire scouts, but does anybody have any rejection to the general's idea?
No, national security seems important.
I would have to agree. So we should put Emmeline Cleaves in charge of that scout unit. Does that sound like a fair promotion? She could prove herself.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, if she feels up for it.
If she has experience in scouting. I mean, maybe she doesn't have that skill set, but
If she wants to be in charge of the whole guard, she needs to be experienced in all the skill sets.
Her skill set right now is one that is showing leadership, or at least a will to have it. Perhaps we give her the chance.
I'm going to be spending more time with the various leaders and going to the visit the troops themselves, so I can do a more thorough assessment of the various strengths of the various commanders.
All right, well, that sounds good. I'll approve expenditure of the money for a scout regiment.
And Serena, are your duties also include the overseeing and watch of the city guard?
I don't know, do they?
So the guard in Carolinian is divided between the castle guard and the city guard. So the city guard essentially rolls up to like a sergeant that's responsible for the city guard. The castle guard would roll up to the seneschal officially.
Do they work together, or is it just two separate?
They're pretty separate, and I would say you guys probably noticed in some of your conversations with Arthur previously that there's a little bit of animosity between the two, because being a castle guard is kind of viewed as being like a cushy job, and like, oh wow, you're a castle guard, that that's like the more elite sense, where the city guards a lot of times are looked down upon by the castle guards, like, oh yeah, those guys are just they're the bottom of the barrel kind of guys. So there's a bit of animosity between the two groups.
Okay.
And mechanically, I'll just draw you guys' attention to one other thing really quick. In our Armies in Warfare handout, the reason that the scouts are so important, if you scroll to the bottom of that, you'll see a section called Spotting and Identifying Units. And I'll just call your attention to the scouts call out there where it says, Scout units can automatically spot enemy units in any province adjacent to the scout's location. So essentially, if you put scouts in Melivienne, they will be able to tell you exactly how many troops and what the unit types are in Murgarat, Doom's Peak, Punal, Torian's Watch. So essentially they can look one province away and get an accurate count of the troops there.
I'm going to be making the proposal that we place a unit of scouts in each jurisdiction.
One in each, Melivienne and Riverford.
Oh yeah.
4 gold bars.
You guys said it. National security, very important.
Here comes our military industrial complex. We're going to make some money out of this, guys.
Look, I had already thought about earlier invading Punal because we know there's some good stuff to mine there, but you know, if somebody's gonna bring the war to us, then sure. Vin will look at you and kind of smile because he knows that you love a good fight and say, "All right, well, 2 units is within our budget. I don't mind that expenditure. And if we can find out the units that we're up against, maybe trim their forces before we have to take them head on, it would be wise. However, that would increase our monthly expenditure by 2 gold bars, or our seasonal expenditure.
Yeah, my proposal was 3.
3 units.
Side question, what's base move?
That is how far they can move in actual wartime. So each movement point is 1 province of movement. So, for example, if you had a movement of 2, and let's say you guys declared war on Thurazor, a unit could actually move from Melivienne to Doom's Peak, and then again, all within that same domain turn, if they had a movement of 2.
All right, I see. Like pieces on a chessboard.
Yep, exactly. Of course, if you run into enemy forces, you can't just move through them. It would be a battle. But movement is a good idea of how quick those troops are. It affects both provincial movement, and then once you actually get into a war battle where you're moving units in war combat, that is also how quickly they move on the battlefield.
Well, we don't have to make a decision now. Like I said, I'm putting together a proposal, especially once I assess what our leadership is like and that sort of thing. But start counting your gold bars.
Okay. Well, should we go ahead and at least get started on maybe 1 unit so we can get an idea of what we're up against? Maybe in Melivienne?
I concur.
Sure. Let's rally the troops.
All right. And perhaps our newly what's the word? Installed spy master could put some espionage to use.
To get exactly what information we're looking for.
This is new to me. I have never led a country, nor led a country in war.
So just general information? I thought that's what the scouts were getting. What am I missing?
The scouts will gather unit positions, I'm assuming.
That's going to be their directive.
But perhaps we could find out why they're amassing, who their leaders are. Something along those lines. Cut the head off the snake and all of that.
We could send out some feelers, yep.
All right, so I heard a proposal here to use the muster action domain, muster armies domain action. If we open our handout there, we'll see that is a minor action, which means it doesn't take an actual action. You can essentially do it at any point during the domain turn. So if you wish to do this now, you can essentially start to hire and train and outfit those scouts. They won't be ready to go until the next domain turn. So basically 1 month's time.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if we
I
start
vote
now,
yes.
they'll be ready now, yeah. If we start next month, they won't be ready until the month after, so. I concur. I vote yes as well. Any objections? There we have it. So we'll muster a scout army or scout unit and station them. Where would you like to station them, General? Melavine or Riverford?
Melavine.
All right, you guys send off that missive that you wish to muster a unit of scouts. I'm going to go ahead and update the domain sheet by deducting the gold bars for that muster cost.
And Dean, when you write back to Derek, please let him know that any extra troops he sees moving along our border are not ones that threaten him, but we've gotten word of goblins mustering in Murgarat and Doom's Peak. Ask him if maybe he has information about fighting goblins and what to look out for since he borders Markazor.
I will, my lord.
Anything else, guys?
Actually, there is. Lord Tannen,
Yes, counselor.
is there room on the docket in 3 weeks for another a formal visit in front of the council? I'd like to add the what would be a best term is the chief of the city guard, the city watch.
There is. In fact, the number of petitioners so far, it is still early in the term, of course, but it is fairly light. I have 6 public petitioners and 3 private meeting requests. One of those, which is the guild rep, which we're trying to pull forward. So we certainly could do. Would you do so? Would you like this as a public petitioner or a private meeting request?
Let me confer with the count and the councilors.
He nods at you.
My lord, there's a few things that's come to my attention, but there's only one that I think is worth mentioning now. You see that this city, the streets of Carlinian, there's people are talking. You see, there have been 3 women who have been killed in the last 2 weeks, and each of the women are young, adults, 18 to 25. The 3 that I've heard, the 3 women are unmarried without children, and they had their throats slit with a fine blade, is what I'm hearing.
In the city.
And then, yes, and their hair was cut roughly, like as if it was like a token or a mark. Anyway, the local guards have tried to keep the news from growing and creating panic, but if there is a serial killer, it might soon to be make news, so to speak. So, do we request a meeting with the chief of the city watch in private or in public, my lord?
Well, I fear if we wait 3 weeks to talk to anyone about this, we may have more than 3 women dead on our hands. Perhaps we decree something in the city. Even if we spook away finding the serial killer, we may save some women's lives. And that may be of more concern to me than public or privately meeting the city watch for why they kept it under wraps.
Now, what are you proposing specifically?
Well, we let women know. I'm sure in some gossip circles it's already been spoken about, but if the council and the regent shows its faith in the people and then has a public meeting with the city watch after they've made their own decree, it would show that we are making the changes that we need to keep our people safe.
It will also drive a wedge between you and the captain, the chief of police. Probably best maybe we call him sooner than later, just to get his take on it before we go public.
How about me and you go down tomorrow morning and talk to him ourselves?
Yes, I think that'll be good. Before we make a public announcement, make
Well,
sure
he won't
that
be
this
expecting it, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
formal meeting and all of that. He'll have some kind of prepared response, but we show up and we ask to speak to him right then and there. We
Yes.
move to a private room or whatever, and we
Yeah.
inquire why it's being kept about, and we let them
Well,
know. etc.
I would say we don't let the public know. Like, we don't put warnings out until we've met the chief. Just so he knows that we trust him in doing his job. Maybe he's doing a good job. I don't know.
Well, I'm not doing much tomorrow. And I'd like to go see this son of a gun.
Very well. That's it. There's a couple other things, but we can leave it at that.
All right. Well, before we call the meeting, anyone else have any kind of news to break? Chamberlain, Spy Master, Seer.
Yeah,
I mean,
speak up. Go
no,
ahead.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
you
John.
know, ladies first. You know I'm going to go ahead and do the gentleman thing, but I can just drink my mead.
Well, if we're sharing everything we learned, first of all, of note, the Northern Reformed Church has already followed through with their blessings of our domains, so we can expect to have a bit more of a windfall economically this season. So that will help offset the cost of the troops that we're levying. Also, minor note, there seems to have been some activity in Riverford with a small religious sect having shown up recently of a group of Voss men, but we don't know much else about that. But our people are monitoring the situation. And lastly, of interest to all of you, I'm sure, somewhere along the Doson border in that one that I'm not going to try to pronounce, the one that starts with R, people have reported sightings of an abomination they're calling the Hag that drags people into the river. So there could be some manner of importance along the northern border as well.
Yikes. Everyone has such great news.
When I read your report about y'all fighting the Banshee, you sounded heroic, Saline. And then you stuttered right through that. Why are you so scared? You're not like public meetings.
Well, I did just get news that someone was going around killing young unmarried women ages 18 to 25 with long hair. So that did kind of set me. That did
Oh,
kind of set me on edge a little bit.
I did not think of that. All right, all right. Well,
Time to get you hitched, quick.
that the small sect of the Voss in Riverford, they wouldn't happen to be in the northeast portion, would they?
My information does not say where in Riverford they were. At least according to the summary that I'm reading on Discord.
Well, we don't want to seem like we're expelling religions, but do we know what type of god they're following?
No, but they are continuing to monitor the situation, and we'll find out. I will say that these people only arrived within the last week, according to my information. Dean, when did you say the killings happened on the logging guild?
The last couple of weeks.
So the timelines don't match, but we should still be sure, yeah? Just because we know their arrival now does not mean they've been here longer than we've known about it.
It is possible.
Okay, alright. Well, what do you think about that? I mean, with the NRC, the Northern Reformed Church, I mean, are they going to be upset about this new religious sect, or are they going to be more well?
My impression is that the Northern Reformed Church has more or less a monopoly on the actual investitures, or whatever we're calling. I forget what we're calling those. The things that give them the power in the land. I don't think
Regency?
whatever. I don't think a small sect that just got here a week ago is going to be able to do anything to disrupt their control over everything. They may not be happy that they're here, but I don't see a reason to forcibly expel them unless they make themselves a problem. You know.
I
Well,
agree.
Bill,
Pro-
before you continue on that, let me tell you something that I saw the other day, and I don't know if it's related, but if it is, it might be good just to get it out there right now.
The floor is yours.
Cool. So, the other day I was downtown and everything, and I saw 6 robed folks. Um, they were humming some songs and everything. They were hooded, looked like monks or clerics or something, moving through the streets, singing a song about doom and the doom of humanity and the rise of the deep ones. The song kept on saying the deep ones. So I don't know if maybe that's a religious sect or something, but if we are looking to connect them, maybe we need to ask around about that.
Was
The deep
was
ones.
it good?
No, it was really bad. It was almost as bad as that copper singer thing that I was hearing about. I heard he was bad too, but probably on the same level. I don't
That's
know.
not what I heard.
I don't know. But the crowd. I was asking people in the crowd and everything about this group here. There's only like 6 of them, but they said that some of the folks told me that they saw these robed folks a couple days ago. No one seems to know who they are or anything, but they were actually, some people were going to the guards saying they should be kicked out, arrested, and things. But I mean, there wasn't much the guards could do because it's not like the people were doing anything other than looking like the fool. Now, I bring this up now because I don't know if it's related, but we got something going on 2 weeks ago, a week. These guys here were seen a few days ago. I mean, if it's all connected, I really think maybe we should, maybe ask some folks around about the deep ones. That seems to be who they're worshiping or something. I don't know.
Why would we ask around? We have the seer here. She knows every deity and everything about them. Go on, Celine, tell us all about the deep one.
Well, I don't know if I know that, but I know Tavard recently had an experience with a bunch of fish people. That might be related.
How about
They
Yeah,
live
those
in the deep,
orcs?
right?
hey, listen, that was a bad dream. I'm just saying.
Ate some bad mushrooms.
Have you
Well,
Okay,
heard
well,
any?
Din, are you suggesting that you want me to do a blind check to see what I know about the...
You can certainly do so if you wish, yeah.
yeah. I was assuming you were about to just like, boom, auto expel all the information you know.
So you are familiar, Saline, with the term the Deep Ones, and in fact, you are pretty sure that you've already met some of the Deep Ones. They were those minions of the Fex that you guys ran into in the ruins. They are vaguely humanoid, but obviously corrupted in some way by the powers they serve that makes them more like fish folk.
Oh
Yeah, so
God.
just what I said, Tavard, your old friends, or what they're talking about.
Maybe I should have become their king like they asked.
Did any of those hooded figures happen to be a fish-scaled woman who was very mad that she lost her estate?
Well,
Whatever it
I
was?
don't know about that because they're all robed. Now, one person looked at me and everything, and there was an ugly, ugly bastard. But had like white skin and things. Looked kind of bald. Had some. He looked a little disfigured and things like that. So, maybe right. I mean, he didn't look like my bride to be, let's say, but still ugly.
Interesting.
It's not a
Well,
very nice way to talk about your fiance.
Oh,
how
she's
many?
not. I broke it off. Trust me.
It's been about like 4 days or so since they've gotten back, right, Adam?
Double checking my calendar. I think it's been longer than that.
It was at least 6 because Drizzlex came back 6 days after we returned.
Yeah, it's the 28th of Keltier here. Oh, and Jizzlex came on the 24th, so it's probably What is that? 6 plus 4, 10 days?
Math checks out.
So, well,
Thanks.
today's the 28th. So I believe, based on looking at my calendar, that they would have returned on the 23rd. You guys met with Jizzlex on the 24th. It is now the 28th.
All right, so they've been back about 4 days. So the Voss people seem to have been gotten back. They were here before you guys got back. So that doesn't sound connected to the robed people in terms of my timelines.
Well, I could tell you a few other things that I've heard from my special network, if you know what I mean.
Well,
Please, some good news.
I'm
Oh yeah,
withholding.
tons of it. Yeah.
I'm withholding information only when necessary. So, but feel free to share as much as you'd like.
Yeah, I'll just tell you that I heard some rumors and stuff about the dwarves of I cannot pronounce it, but Barak Azark. So those are the dwarfs that are more friendlier than my kin, right? But they've been looking at hiring some mercenaries, which is kind of odd to be honest with you, because our dwarven people on both sides, they like to stay a little bit secluded and not really open to outsiders and stuff. So that was kind of odd and everything. Don't know if it means anything, but you know.
The Mercolod? That's what you said?
No, the Merkalot, those are my folks. They're not the friendly ones.
Oh, did you say Markazor?
No, I'll put it in chat, because that's the best place for it.
Yeah, the dwarf land, it's one of the hardest lands to pronounce. It's actually Baruch Ajik.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
It's actually like it looks at them, but it's just you look at it and you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm even gonna try
It
this.
sounds cool too, but yeah, it's probably hard to pronounce.
So under our tokens here, so this is Mercolod, right?
Yeah, so what I found is that some of the stuff is a little bit easier to see in the other map. I was looking at maps and everything, and the map for ANUIRE showed a couple of the more stuff that I've got on my notes.
Oh, I see it now that I got it open. Okay, Baruch Ajik is across Markazor and that big forest.
Yeah, so I'll just
pretty
talk like
far.
Bill, right? So right underneath there, where you see, we'll say to the east side center, you see that's the Baruch Azik dwarven area there, right? So the area there that begins with right underneath not, but anyway, to the southwest of that there is Korani.
Corvinus?
Sure. And then to the west of that, Alini.
That one is, again, everything that ends in this rule with IE always has like a long pronunciation, so it's actually Alinie.
Alenia, yeah. So those are where some of the thanks, Adam. That's where some of the mercenary companies have been, they've been entertaining them anyway. So there's that, right? And then so there's that, and then I have a couple of other things too, but I can put that in chat there. Adam, I wasn't able to find this town here though. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in chat.
Yeah, feel free.
So the dwarves are protecting themselves against Coranus. What are they, human?
So Twerhiaville is actually your elvish neighbor to your northeast from Cerilia.
Oh, that's probably why, because I was like looking up all these.
You were looking far away.
And everything. Yeah, I was looking the other direction. Like, hey, everything else that I was at up there. But yeah, so one of the other things that I'm going to go ahead and just put this in Discord and everything, but I think it may be related and everything. but those folks there are looking to looking for coins to further bolster their forces in a likely attack by the Gorgon forces. And if you remember, the dwarven folks that I'm not from, right, are against the dwarven, against the dwarves as well, right? So the Gorgon or whatever I should say. So I don't know if there's a way. This is just Bill talking out loud, right? So you have one group that's looking to spend money to go ahead and get some mercenaries, and then you're looking for the Elven Kingdom over there that's looking to get some coins to help build up their forces. So I don't know if those could, from our perspective, if those could intertwine. So I'll put that in Discord though, just to make it easier for you guys to see my nonsense explanations.
And we're the middlemen that get paid along the way.
Well, it does seem. I mean, it seems like one's probably this is Tavern kind of speculating, but if you're looking for outside sources to hire mercenaries, that's probably for defense or offense, right? And so that's
Well,
kind of how I look
if
at it.
Torhaville is mustering their forces, then they're probably suspecting an attack, or at least wanting to defend themselves against one. Because the Gorgon has Markazor. We learned about that when that the philosopher or whatever said that they wanted to find a way through. Remember? They said they were looking for that they wanted us to fund their expedition to find the way through the Markazor, through the Stone Crowns. We could fund that expedition and then charge the elves for that information.
Yeah, so I have a little more information in that region as well.
Goodness, you guys got a lot of information.
It's been a busy couple of hours since I've had this job title,
He has all of these folders.
They were all just sitting on my desk waiting for me to arrive.
So we've heard of goblins from Markazor and dwarves from Merkaleed amassing in the Shattered Hills. And they're both known puppets of the Gorgon, so we're concerned that they're going to attack the forest to their south.
But not us.
That's correct. And if you're concerned about regions that aren't in our immediate vicinity, I should mention that shoot. I gotta pull back up the bigger map. There's 2 other countries that are about to go to war, but they're not near us, so.
Well, the Silhouette is in between Baruch-Ajik and Markazor. And Merkaleed is on its northern territory. And then we have goblins amassing in Thurazor. Do you think they're trying to move through us to Markazor?
Do we know of any relation between them and the Gorgon?
I don't.
Hey, Adam, I got a question for you. How friendly are the good dwarves and the elves up there? And that place I can't pronounce begins with the T.
In Twerhiaville. So it is known to allow humans to enter Twerhiaville. The prince there that rules, he lets humans come in. However, there are what you might call radicals that live in Twerhiaville that absolutely hate humans. So there are times where humans will travel to Twerhiaville as sort of guests or merchants, and they'll end up dead and sometimes never found. It is said that in the forests of Twerhiaville, there's a lot of fey magic, and people can get lost for years at a time and not even realize. Like a moment passes, and it's been 50 years in real time before they realize even what is going on. But then, of course, there's a lot of stories of humans going there, trading, and it's no big deal. Like it goes just fine. So it's kind of a mixed bag.
Let's go to Brigadoon. It's Alamy and Tornin that our tensions are high and war could break out there at any time.
Well, Alamy, I just put that in Discord as well, but Alamy just forged a little alliance with Sure Gal. I can't pronounce that, but I put it in Discord.
Gore?
Yeah, Gory. I don't know, right? But anyway, so if you're saying they're looking to go to war, maybe that's why they, got another alliance going.
It is indeed Gore, and then the other one is pronounced Alamier.
Well, Gore's easy.
Yeah, anytime you see like an IE ending in this world, just think AY is how I think in my head.
Okay, and that's a lot. Well, now that we're considered in an alliance with Moriad, I'm sure that information will make its way out soon. Perhaps as a show of good faith, in addition to seeking down that breastplate, maybe we ask if they'll host us, just like we hosted Michael here, even though it was my uncle. Maybe they could host us and our party, and we could actually discuss with them one-on-one more details regarding the matter of Alamy and Gore.
Yeah, I think we need to. I mean, they may already know as well, but maybe we need to make sure that they do know that, that's happening since it's on their borders.
It would also give us a chance to talk to them about Shane, it appears. It seems that him speaking with the emissary of the guilds, perhaps they're trying to make a power move. Wouldn't put it past me, Ailey.
Yeah, so that's all I got. I mean, that was a lot on my first day. I think I deserve a raise already.
Vin
We'll
nods
get
his
you an ale.
I get 2.
All right. That's a lot of stuff going on then. Well, I think the most important, of course, is guarding our borders and making sure our friends are guarded as well. So, Thorazor, mustering the unit of scouts, that's of high importance, and I agree we should do that. I think we should reach out to Moriad, Dean, and inquire about seeing if they'll host us, perhaps. Let them know I'm looking for a wife, and we'll use that as cover for having a meeting with them directly. And we can talk about some of the stuff our spy master found out. In general, in terms of sending more or finding more information about the units, I support that. And let's see. Oh,
The
and I'll look over.
breastplate, my lord.
Oh, yes, the breastplate. Well, I think we assigned Arthur to that. He's proven himself dedicated to proving himself. Have him take a unit of people he deems fit, maybe a group of 6 to 8, to track down this thief. Have him arrested.
Hey, I got a question for everybody. This is out of character, obviously, but because I don't have my grumpy old voice on right now. But in regards to so this is I can already tell, and Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but obviously I get the feeling there's a few different things going on. Some of our information is going to intertwine together, and I just think that we may want an opportunity to figure out how we as players can go ahead and I don't know if we want to have like a separate Discord channel per each issue, so to speak, or something. But I think it'd be better. I think what's going to happen is like things are going to get on Discord and it's going to get all over the place, right? And I don't know if there's a way to keep different sections on topic or if another venue is the best way to do it.
Like
Yeah,
a briefing channel.
Well, I'll say we could definitely do a briefing channel, and then we can use threads if you guys like, and then that way each topic would be its own thread, and then you can keep everything self-contained for that topic. So yeah, a lot of possibilities, either doing that in Discord or in Roll20. It really depends on what you find works best for you.
Yeah, because I think if we don't do something, it's just going to be overwhelming. To be honest.
I like the just a channel for the briefings, and we could just cut and paste them in there
Yeah, and then
to start.
that's cool. Yeah, my notes are pretty heavy today. Poor Jordan in there, and having to do that recap. That's a lot. All right, I think the only person we haven't heard from is the Chamberlain.
Oh, my lord, I'm sorry.
Sure.
No, what do you mean?
Isn't that Blixel? Oh,
I,
no, that's you.
Yeah, I think maybe it's
Look-
time for a break. I think we need a break, and they can get back to it.
You already had your break, buddy.
I was waiting for it to come to a natural closing spot. But yeah, do you guys want to continue this special council? We'll do our break and come back. Or do you want to close this session of council and then we'll go to break and come back and continue on with the moving forward of days?
I want to hear
Let's just-
Blixel's briefing on the condition of the castle.
Yeah, did you get a briefing for Seneschal Blixel?
No.
He was just appointed, so no.
Okay. Well, let's close it out real quick. So, first thing, we got message from Moriad. We want to reply to him. We talked about what the reply should be. So, Dean, you can write that up. We can go over that some more as a group. But we know the loggers in the northeast region of Riverford got killed. So we want to send a unit of scouts to investigate that. We're going to send Arthur to track down the breastplate and arrest that guy. We've got the women in the city being killed, so I'm going to go and talk to this captain of guard with Dean tomorrow. We've got goblin troops amassing in Murgarat and Doom's Peak, so we got scouts doing that. Tavard, we've got the monks. Tavard, you're gonna have to sort that out yourself, buddy. But we can help you if you need to. But it seems like they're on your ass, bud. And then
I think that's going to be more than just me, because I think that's going to be. Well, I just mean that I think that's going to become a city issue.
okay, all right. Well, we'll keep our eyes on that. I don't know much more, but maybe we could let the guards know something in terms of if they see that happening again, to at least disperse it, right?
And have somebody follow them. I didn't follow them. I was talking to the people to kind of get a better idea, but I didn't follow them.
Sure. Okay, we could do that. Or maybe, what if we arrest one and have Esme freaking torture them?
Interrogate them. The
Yeah,
three
yeah.
F's: food,
All right.
family, and fashion.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. So, all right. So we'll disperse those singing next time. We'll follow them and see if we can, or maybe arrest one and see if we can get more information. NRC bless the domain, so we should see some good money. What? There's a small Voss sect in Riverford we're going to keep our eye on, make sure they're not doing anything too shady, and see if we can learn about the god they are. We didn't talk about the Hag Abomination and Rudawash, but
Yawn.
and Baruch Ajik hiring mercs. That sounds like a whole big thing, and I think if we can go and talk to Derek of Moriad, we can find out more about that. So, boom. Does that sound everybody on the same page? Is there anything I'm missing?
Maybe. I don't know.
You've covered everything on my list, my lord.
Okay, I think so. General said she's gonna look into the troops and the captain. We're gonna send that lady to, yeah. So the only thing that we haven't talked about, guys, that we've learned about so far is this Hag Abomination and Rudawash. And our seer, our lovely seer, says that this abomination is dragging people into the swamp, and Rudawash is on the other side of the river from Riverford in Doson. So
Specifically,
about
she's
that?
dragging people into the river, which I believe is
The one that connects
border
to us.
river. So
Yeah.
she might be active on our side as well, potentially.
All right.
On a list of 1 to 10, my lord, that's a 11.
Does that close out our special session of council and we go to break?
Was there biscuits and stuff served?
I don't think so. I didn't hear any special menu items.
Then yeah, then we need to go eat.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and take our break here. 15 minutes. We'll see everybody on the other side.
All right.
Yep.
Alrighty, we're back to our second half, everybody. Let's pick up where we left off. You guys just ended a special session of council that you had called to kind of handle some of these things that had popped up just unannounced and handle some of the other more timely issues. So with that in mind, it is currently the 28th. So we're going to skip some days then. I'm going to ask really quick.
Can I stop that real quick, Adam?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can say stop at any time that I'm going to skip days if there's something specific that you wish to do. So yeah, feel free.
Excuse me. I would like to do this right after the meeting, presuming that it's still maybe midday or something like that. I would ask Celine, take her to the side, and I will share with her a bit of what I've learned, and I'll say it out loud, so you guys can also know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to keep secrets, but I wanted to keep the meeting only with important things. So, Celine, do you want to go shopping with me?
Well, this is awfully sudden, but I mean, it is still daylight, and there's no risk of serial killers getting me if I have an escort, so sure.
Oh, okay. I've heard that there's a new merchant in town. He purchased a small shop, and he has a license to sell a variety of magical goods. What I've heard is prices seem incredibly low. Some people are talking that it kind of concerned the other merchants that he was lowballing everybody. Anyway, he's been vetted to an extent. Seems like he has no criminal record that we could find, and he seems to have come from Doson. There have been no reports of the items being fake or faulty. Don't think of it that way. But the merchant is a Brecht man. His name is Hans Schellner. Schellner. Want to go check it out?
Sure. What would you have me do?
Well, it's a magic shop, and they sell a variety of magic goods.
Sure, but I just spent most of my money learning alarm.
Oh, well, I have some money, and I'll jingle my coin. I seem to have 31 gold pieces. Let's go find a deal.
Yeah, okay.
I do my best to muster Celine's courage to walk with me. In fact, Adam, I will invite Belle and Dash to come with us. You don't mind, Celine, to hang out with Mom and Baby Dean?
No, of course I love being the fourth wheel. Let's go.
Excellent. If you get a chance to get to know Belle, she's a wonderful cook.
All right,
Okay.
so it sounds like you're having a family outing with Celine as you track down the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
All right, so you make your way through the city streets of Cariele, and it takes you probably 30 minutes or so before you track this place down. Sure enough, there is quite a bit of a crowd outside of this place. You can hear kind of the chatter going through the folks who are gathered nearby. They all seem to be talking about, this shop and is this legitimate? This is kind of crazy how the prices here seem so low. How does this make any sense? Other shops, the prices for similar things, so much more expensive, and on and on.
We're talking like a dozen people outside?
Probably half a dozen. They're kind of right in front of the door.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me, new shop in town. Like to go in if you're blocking the door. Thank you.
The people do indeed step out of the way, and you notice that there is a sign above the shop that says the Magisario.
All right, I'll hold the door open for my family and, of course, Celine.
All right, as your family unit enters the shop here, you notice that there are a lot of folks kind of just wandering. There is like glass containers. So think of this as almost like if you think of those old school shoe shops where you would have these slots and there'd be a pair of shoes in them all along the wall. Think of it like that, but there's glass covering everything. And you see a whole variety of items in there against all of the different walls in this shop. Behind the counter, you notice a man who presumably is a proprietor. He is speaking with one individual. The conversation kind of wraps up pretty quickly, and then you see he turns and looks towards you as you are entering the shop proper, and he gives you a warm smile and gives you a hand wave here and just kind of smiles at you.
Oh, hello. Yep, new in town. I see it's a new business. Just thought I'd check out what you have for sale.
Ah, yes, please check it out. I have many good things for purchase.
Okay. Let's see. What are we looking for? Anything for the wee one here? Any magical toys or little trinkets?
Oh, of course, I have many different things, but is there anything specific that you're looking for, or should it be something more general?
Well, I think just general for now. It's just your shop looks like it's quite adequate.
You see, he smells. Ah, you're so generous. Well, does the little one like things that fly a little bit and hop and such?
Oh, I don't know. He's young. He likes anything right now. Yeah, let's see what you got that fly, hop around.
And you see behind the counter, he kind of rustles around and he pulls out what almost looks like a butterfly, but you can see it's clearly made of some kind of stone, but still quite small. And you see he sets this stone butterfly on the counter, and you see he looks down at Dash and he says, "Ah, now pay attention, little one. Look, look." And you see he just motions with his fingers, and sure enough, the little statue butterfly's wings begin to flutter, and it kind of goes up, down, and then it slowly drifts down and lands once again on the counter.
Do I
Wow.
recognize this as like a spell being cast, or kind of like
Give
identify what
me
he's
a
doing?
blind check. Surprisingly, Saline, you don't know.
Well, what do you know?
My emo kid is not paying attention.
You see he smiles and he says, "Oh, then maybe not that one, but well, we have quite many other things. Let me see. I must say, most of the people that come to the shop here, it's not exactly for the children, but I'm sure I have something."
What do you got for more mature? Mature means anything for combat per se?
Well, yes, of course, it has these things for combat. I must say, for starters, I certainly don't wish to offend anyone, but I find that it is usually best to ask the question of what is your budget that you're looking to spend here in the shop, because that would be most important for telling you exactly what it is that I have to offer.
No, I see. Well, uh, less than 300 gold pieces.
Oh, have many things that could still fall in that. Let's see. Looking at you there, you don't look like exactly you'd be the weapon type, right? So I'm thinking something more different, esoteric than not exactly a weapon, right?
Yes, I don't really use weapons.
Oh, I know. Perfect. I have something for exactly 300 gold, and it could really help you out in a pinch. Here, over here. Follow me. Follow me. You see, he steps out behind the counter, and you see he puts his hand up against the east wall, riding his finger down like the glass until he gets into one little like cube, and you see he knocks on the glass there, and inside you see what looks like a necklace, and not set in the center, which is kind of odd. It's almost like off center. You see one little red like ruby drop there, and you see he smiles and he says, "That right there. That's a necklace of fireballs. There's one bead left on it. 300 gold."
Oh, wow. It's beautiful. Where are the others? Are there open slots where the gems have been used?
Yes. Yep. It looks to
Okay.
you like there were more beads on there at one time, but there's only one left.
All right. Celine, what do you think? Is this something interesting? I know that she's looking at her iPhone right now, but come on, pay attention.
Sorry, Dad. What are we? What are we looking at?
This beautiful necklace. What do you think? He's offering for 300 gold pieces.
Uh, well, I don't know if Saline has any kind of appraisal skill
Yeah, I don't know either,
to
but I thought I'd bring.
determine whether or not something is worth the money he's asking for it, or if he is indeed lowballing it.
You can certainly insight check him to see if you think he's trying to get one over on you if you wish.
Oh, I'm good at that.
Sure, you could do it as well, Dean. Oh, sorry, blind check, of course.
Oh,
Wasted a good
when
one.
when did this start, Adam?
Yeah, you think he's giving you the straight, honest deal that he has here.
I'll take it and hold it up to Celine's neck.
So just to
and-
clarify, it's currently behind glass. He's
Oh,
showing
okay,
it to you, like pointing it to you through behind
Oh,
He's
glass.
gonna smash the glass, grab it, and take it from him.
he was smashing grab. Beady.
And then next month we have a new briefing that there's been a thievery at the magic shop.
We'll look into it. We investigate ourselves and find no wrongdoing.
Okay. What do you think, Celia?
Well, I think that if I had 300 gold on me, it would be a worthwhile purchase. But I whispered to him, I can already cast Fireball. We got that covered.
All right, well, that's nice.
What
How
about a
about
nice
any?
potion then? I have plenty of potions for you.
How about a ring of protection?
Oh, I do have a ring of protection, but the price, I'm afraid, you said 300 or less, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid that goes for a wee bit more than 300.
310.
You notice he kind of smiles at you, says, "Oh, I wish it was so, but it is not."
What are you charging for it? I do have a bank in town.
And you see he looks at you again, almost like maybe seeing you for the first time. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I'll have to go back and check the exact prices and such. I have everything written down. It's all been calculated to be fair and such.
All right, we'll be here.
All right. He goes back and you see him start scanning through some different things and stuff. And then he looks up and he says, "Oh, I'm afraid that one is in a bit of low stock. So the extra low, super low prices that you normally offer, I can't really offer on that one, I'm afraid. That one currently is going for 3,500.
Oh wow. Can I insight that? I don't. I've never bought one, but maybe.
Again, you can insight whether you think he's trying to get one
Yeah.
over on you, not necessarily what the fair market value is. Hard to say. All right, I was like, did you post it? Because you rolled the exact
Yeah.
same thing on than the
Oh.
last time. But yeah, he's. You get the impression once again that this is. He believes this to be a fair price.
Wow, you have a lot of merchant. Does it look full, Adam? A lot of merchandise, or the little glass boxes? Are they all full?
Almost all of them are full. Say there's probably a total of like 100 between the three walls. Maybe 5 are empty.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything else that can interest in you? I still have many things that are under that budget of 300 gold.
Well, yeah, maybe, but we're just on a walk, so I'm with my family, so maybe we'll come by in a couple days. It's nice meeting you.
He nods. Oh, yes, very nice to meet you as well. I wish you have a great one.
And I'll just leave. All right, we've met Hans Schellneller.
Okay, back at the castle / council chambers. Anybody that is not sailing or DN, anything specific you're doing?
How much gold are we getting out for everybody?
I can't. I don't think I can take a special action to convert until like the next, like, not even. It's the next season, based on domain
Okay.
actions. Yeah, so it would be after we make two. It'd be like 2 months from now. I can pull money out.
All right. In that case, Books doesn't do anything. Once he gets money, he's going to try to build or get a breastplate made out of that metal for himself. But
Oh, we can coordinate that. Like we can pay them from the right, Adam? We can pay them from the treasury if we want to do that, right?
You could, yep.
Yeah, if you want to do that, buddy, we can take that money out. In terms of you guys paying me paying you guys for your roles and stuff, that will be the next round because special actions are for current actions. So we're in action 6, I believe. So we're about to the next month we're about to make our second domain action.
okay. Well, however we can do it, I appreciate it. But yeah, if we can get that rolling, I'll just find the person that can do it and commission it.
Uh, We have that blacksmith recently who came and gave me this one, and I'm wearing that breastplate that petitioner made and brought to show us. I had it refitted so it would fit me. I'm sure if we ask them if they can make something for you, they can fit you and have it prepared. But the armor would only be about half of the ore that we have, so we'd still have some left over. And don't forget, everyone, I still have Minerva's plate armor just hanging out in my room. Can anybody wear that?
Safe to assume that Celine and Dian have now returned and you guys are having this conversation as a group?
Yeah, I think it's just the four of us and Tannen. Well, actually, we finished the meeting, so Tannen probably left.
Yes, he would take his leave.
Well, actually, Adam. Oh, go ahead.
Blixel is not strong enough to wear plate armor, so
I think probably the only one mechanically that's got a heavy armor that they can wear would be Celine with cleric, right?
Alien cannot wear heavy armor. He can wear medium armor.
All right. Well, then we will use it as reward for an adventuring party that we need to pay in the future. Adam, if I didn't realize this like during the day, can Vin go and figure out where the city guard captain is and talk to him about what Dian told him about the serial killer?
Meaning you want to like go to the barracks, or you're sending word to summon the commander of the city guard to come to the castle?
Nah, I'm gonna go to them because I don't want them to be expecting me. So I'll get my trusty bodyguard Arthur, and this will be a good time for me to talk to him about him going and arresting that thief from Moriad also.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you could do that.
Does anyone want to come? Serena, considering you're general now, you want to meet the captain of the city guard?
Yes. I also am curious when our next meeting will be because I may go meet some other leaders as well.
Tannen said it's the 20th of... Hold on.
Faniel?
Faniel.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to have a meeting before then, but...
No, it's about, let's see, 4 plus 20, 24 days.
Oh, well, again, quick reminder, today is currently the 28th of Keltier. You guys have asked for a special session on the 4th of Faniel with the guild rep. So that's only a week away.
And then we have, yeah, but then we have our official, she's talking about our official council meeting, which is the 20th of...
Correct. But if
yeah.
she goes,
No,
if
I
she
think
leaves
that-
the capital and like is trying to like go around the provinces, that might take more than 7 days.
Right, that's why I was asking how much time I have before I need to be back, so...
Back in the capital, I would say you have 7 days, essentially.
Okay, well, I don't know when to bring it up, but I would be interested in meeting with anybody that's within a 7 days journey.
Yeah, you could certainly do that. So you're trying to meet with some of the troop units. So luckily, there are 2 units stationed in Riverford, and even though Carolinian is at the center of Cariele, technically it is in the province of Riverford. So those units of troops are actually really close to the castle. So you can think of them as being in barracks near the castle. So you could easily go and meet with them, and probably only take you a couple of hours.
Great. After meeting the city watch, I want to do that as well.
Okay. All right. So then we've got Vin and Serena heading off to go track down the city guard captain. Is there anybody else going along?
Yeah, I'll tag along.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So the 3 of you guys make your way out. You're trying to make sure that you're not known that you're coming. Right. So you track down Arthur, ask him to go with you. He is happy to do so. again, being a castle guard, he's pretty easy to track down.
All right, perfect. On the way, I'll go. Arthur, we had a special council meeting and I need you to take something on. Are you thinking you're up for a little more responsibility?
You see he looks to you as he's trying to keep his head kind of on a swivel as he's walking you guys through the city streets. Well, I guess that really depends on what it is that you need, Lord Regent.
It's another arrest warrant I need you to serve, but this one's a little further away and probably will require you to spend some time away from the castle.
Oh, is it's something straightforward? It's just going to somebody and delivering an arrest warrant?
Moriad reached back out to us, Derek Moriad to be exact. We've stricken up an alliance with Moriad recently, as I'm sure you're aware, considering the proceedings of the castle and all of the hubbub of the court. But in his return letter, he told us that someone stole one of his bannermen's mithril breastplate, and while he was running away, he ventured into Melavine, it appears, from Moriad. Moriad's guardsmen did not cross our borders, and they asked if we could help track him down. I need someone I can trust to do it, and you came to mind. I was going to give you privilege to pick 2 or 3 people to go with you. Find them, find the breastplate, bring it back. You'll be rewarded.
You notice he looks at you like a little bit apprehensive. Well, it's not that I don't want to, but I must say that's not really within my skill set, my lord. Tracking down criminal, like if they're in the castle or they're in the city. I was a city guard before I was a castle guard. I have, some knowledge there, but this almost sounds like it would be a better job for a ranger or somebody like that.
Well, find one and take them with you. Want to
Oh,
know something I've
oh,
learned
I
as being a
see.
leader, Arthur?
What is that,
You
my
can't
lord?
do everything yourself. You can't, right? I look over at Serena. I look over at Tavard. You think I'd be here without either one of them?
You see, he nods. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I didn't expect that. Yes, then sure, certainly. Again, I don't mean to be rude, but there are some funds and things available to hire some folks.
This is a city matter. We will fund the expedition and anything you need to do so. Yes, of course, Arthur, but I'm only asking if you're willing to take this responsibility on.
Well, yes, yeah. If I can hire my own people to do this work, then yes, I'd be happy to oversee it and make sure it gets done for you.
It's of utmost importance, so once we get back from this errand, I'd like you to get started if you would.
He nods. Yes, absolutely. I would be very much happy to do so.
And if you find the breastplate and the person who's responsible, bring them to us and we'll imprison them, and we'll make sure we reach out to Moriad on how to transfer the breastplate back, okay?
He nods. Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I'll work with that Lord Cannon guy to get the money, but yes, okay, I will do everything I can.
And I should warn you, we're about to make an uninvited appearance and ask this city watch captain about some things that we've heard in rumor. Before we walk in, you said that you served in the city watch before. What can you tell us about him?
Oh, about the sergeant of the city guard. He's oof. He's a pretty miserable fellow, I have to say, my lord. Goes by the name Zane Morningfall. He's just very bitter. He was divorced a few years back, and ever since then, oh gee, it's like he sees the negative in everything and everybody. Nothing's ever good or positive.
I I will tell you now and keep it between us for now, but we've heard rumor of women being attacked and killed in the city, and it seems that him and his guardsmen, probably under his order, has told him to be quiet, to not bring it out. And I've been told that if we allow any kind of missive to the women of the city to know to be safe, that it may drive a wedge between us and the city watch themselves. So we're going to go meet this Zane himself, and we're going to ask him why exactly is he keeping things quiet when they should be taken care of? Citizens of our utmost importance and their safety. So be prepared. Yes?
Be prepared for what exactly? Just that he might have like an outburst?
Sure. And if he does, Serena and Tavard here are well within their bounds to beat his ass, but you are as well. You understand me?
Yes, I understand. Of course, my lord.
Alright. That's all for now, Arthur. Thank you. Okay, Serena, Tavard, you
Yep,
say
yep.
he's keeping things under wraps, apparently. So what do you think we should talk to him about before we get there?
We're asking him if we think it would be wise to put out a proclamation that people need to be watching out.
Yes, yes, that's what I would like to do, but apparently going above his head would be not the right thing to do, I suppose.
I think the right thing to do is just to do the right thing.
Aye, and I want to ask why he's
Yeah, I mean,
trying to
it
keep
could have been
things
a
quiet.
strategic. Well, it may be a strategic thing on his side, even though I don't agree with it, right? But maybe, I mean, I would just ask him what the reasoning was, and maybe he's got a reason, and maybe understand that I don't agree with it. But I mean, who knows?
He probably doesn't want to create a panic, but yeah, we're just going to have a conversation with him, right?
Sure, sure. All right. Well, we'll finish our walk towards wherever the city guard battalion and everything's situated, Adam.
All right, yeah, you find the barracks of the city guard, and you're able to get inside without too much difficulty. And you notice that there are several guards about. There's kind of some administrative folks as well. You notice one person kind of eyes you. You maybe have been standing here for like 5 minutes or so, and you see he steps up. Sorry, is there something I can help you with?
Yes, I'm here to see Sergeant Zane Morningfall.
May I ask who it is that is inquiring to speak with Sergeant Morningfall?
The Count of Cariele.
You see, he kind of looks at you for a moment and then blinks and then kind of looks behind him and looks back. I see. I'm sorry we were not told of your arrival, my lord.
Yes, that was on purpose. Where is he? Take me to him.
He is not in the office right now, but I can certainly send for him.
Where
If you
is
could,
he?
He is attending to an issue, as best I'm aware. He said he was going out for a bit and would be back within the hour.
What were you going to say, Tavard?
I was gonna say we could go to him, you know, and see what this issue is, see if we could help out in any way.
He didn't
I'm
tell you where
sorry
he
to
was going.
not in specifics, I'm afraid, no. But as I said, he should be back within the hour. If you wish to wait, my lord, or I'm sure you'd be more comfortable in your castle, I could send him to you straight away.
That's not necessary. We'll wait in his office.
Yeah, yes, of course. Follow me. So you're the count, and I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get everybody situated. Who are these folks with you?
I'm the general,
This is
your
General
superior.
Serena, on guard. And this here on my left, this is Tavard, councilman. And then we have brought a member of the city watch with us. Insisted, since I was leaving the castle, or the castle guard rather, sorry. However, uh, I'm here because I need to speak to him about a matter that has reached my desk.
Understandable. Yes, let me escort you to his office then, if you'll follow me.
Sure.
All right, he walks again. You can get this sense of almost like apprehension as he walks in a bit, and then you see people kind of looking at him, looking at you guys. You see people giving very like questioning looks, and he just kind of slowly gets you to this other door. And you see he opens it and he says, "Apologies for the mess. The sergeant wasn't expecting company anytime soon, especially not, noble company. But if you'll just make yourself comfortable inside the room there, I will see if we can't get him here as soon as possible.
And I'm going to look at Vin and say, "I'll wait outside the door, sir."
You too, Arthur.
Arthur nods and puts his back to the door.
Adam, I'd like to go ahead and do an insight check to see if I feel that. I mean, this may be a little kind of hard to describe, but just trying to see if this guy's being truthful in regards to not knowing what the guards, what the sergeant's doing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Blind check. Yeah, you're not quite sure, really. I mean, he could be. He might not be. Hard to say.
Yeah. So in other words, I rolled normal, huh?
You rolled like a bill. Absolutely.
There you go.
All right, so Serena and I are shut in his office.
If you wish to close the door, sure.
Oh yeah, of course. We're gonna wait, like we're gonna pounce on him, detective style. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I'm
the
actually
door is shut. Oh, go ahead.
I'm actually gonna poke through his things on
Yeah.
his desk.
Yeah. I was about to, rummage through what's going on in his office too. So
All right.
I'm glad we're
So
on the same page, Serena.
Serena, go ahead and throw me a blind check as you start rummaging through. And then Vin, you're trying to also do similar.
Yeah, but more specifically, I'm like looking for missives between him and the guild.
Okay,
Guild
sure.
correspondence, more specific.
So go ahead and throw a blind check as well.
Perfect.
Serena,
And
there is quite a bit of paperwork here, but man, so much of this stuff is boring. And like, you can't be bothered to read through all this.
She rolled like a bill, also.
Adam, I want to throw an inspiration and a hero point on this if I can.
Okay, sure.
I'll just click the inspiration.
Yep, yes.
Oh, it says no character Vin was found.
Oh,
did you? Check for you?
Did you change your name? You might have to set your name back because they're all set to use what your name was previously. But yeah, for quickness, if you want to just throw a d20, you can.
Let's see if this works. I don't remember what I had it as before, to be honest.
I think you just added the count titles. If you remove the count, I think you'll be good.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Abdicate your throne.
Yeah, I did. I had to. Oh, that's a...
So that's your other roll. Now go ahead and post a blind check. So your other side die is a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't... I mean, there is a ton of paperwork here. You notice Serena gets bored of this stuff pretty quick and just kind of like sets it off to the side. You start scanning through it as well. There's a lot of different informations here. There's like patrol routes for the city guards. There's issues about particular citizens and things that have popped up here and there, but you don't find any kind of communications dealing that would indicate in any way that this sergeant is somehow in the pocket of the guilds. You don't really see the guilds mentioned much at all. If you do, it's mostly just an acknowledgement like, yeah, this person works for the guilds.
Okay. While I was flipping through everything, did I see anything about the serial killings?
You did not.
Interesting. So it's not even an important matter to him.
Well, it's not in paperwork on top of his desk. That's you can say that.
All right, and we're not finding a really thin, fine blade that maybe has blood residue from a recent killing on it, are we?
Not with those rolls, you're not.
All right, cool. Well, then Vin will sit down. Vin will sit down in a chair or something and just wait for him to get back.
All right, fair enough. So Taver, you and Arthur are outside as the door is closed. You're kind of posted up in a sentry type position here. It's probably 20 minutes later when you see a man dressed in very fine armor coming down like almost like a charging bull. Like he's not actually running, but he's so large and imposing in his large size that he's coming your way. You kind of get that impression almost of like someone getting ready to bowl you over.
All right, I'm going to discreetly knock, tap on the door.
And then I'm going to put my hand out to the guy that's walking towards me. Says, "Hey there, slow down there, partner."
And you see he looks down at you with a bit of a sneer. What? Are you the ones I'm coming to see? I was told the Lord Regent was here. You don't look like the Lord Regent to me.
Nah, I'm a lot prettier. But he's waiting in the office, of course, waiting for you to get here. But I just thought I'd stand out the door and, of course, guard the entrance and everything for his safety.
Never been blocked out of my own office before. You see he just kind of stands there and puts his hands behind his back.
I bet you never had the Lord Regent in your office before either, right?
He nods.
All right. Well, I just wanted to go ahead and make sure you looked a little upset, so I thought maybe I'd go ahead and just slow you down, and would just walk inside. This is just us coming here, so he wants to have a conversation with you about some of the happenings going on. So let's go inside and talk more.
You notice he kind of gives a glance at Arthur for a moment with that like dead steel look, and Arthur's like doing his best to not show any kind of reaction in any way, and then he looks back towards you and just nods towards the door.
All right. I'll go ahead and just open the door.
All right, as the
Lord
door is.
Regent, you know, uh, Sergeant Morningfall is here to see you.
Perfect.
Tabard, are you
Hello,
entering?
Morning.
Are you entering the office, Tabard?
Yeah, I'm gonna enter as well.
All right, so you enter. You notice he enters and he starts closing the door. You notice Arthur kind of like looks in the gap and he's looking at you guys like, should I be trying to step in?
I'll put my hand up to just wait, like to signal to hold outside.
All right, and Arthur gives you like a really quick and crisp salute as he turns his back. Sergeant Morningfrost closes the door, and you see he looks at you guys as he's standing kind of in the corner. Lord Regent, what is it like? Sorry, ma'am, you are.
I'm gonna step up to him and shake his hand. I'm gonna say, Sergeant Morningfall, I am General Dawnguard. I apologize for not getting here sooner to introduce myself, but we just wanted to discuss a issue of public safety that we're a little bit concerned about.
He gives you a very firm handshake, and you notice, Serena, perhaps his resolve kind of like changes slightly, almost like he really appreciates your show of respect here, shaking his hand.
And I'll step up and I'll put my hand out. Yes, Sergeant, you can relax. We're not here to criticize you, but you can understand a change in regime. We've been disseminating a lot of information recently, and I felt best that we come right to you and talk about this one, if you don't mind.
Now, when you say you put your hand out, are you trying to shake his hand or just stop him?
Shake his hand.
He seems, again, very shocked by this, but yeah, he does shake your hand and he gives a nod. Well, yes, of course. I will provide whatever information I can. I must say I'm not totally prepared, so I'll do my best. But yes, what can I do for you, Lord Regent?
Well, have a seat. We don't need to stand on ceremony or nothing like that. And then I'll sit back in the chair I was at, and I'll kind of lean back in a more nonchalant approach and say, Sergeant, well, first of all, the amount of violence and crime I see in this city is so minimal. I just want to congratulate you on what you've done so far.
And assuming nobody took his actual chair, like if you took it, he's obviously not going to try to kick you
Yeah,
out.
yeah. No, I didn't. No, I didn't take his chair.
All right, so he sits in his chair behind the desk then, looking at you guys from over the desk, and he nods. Thank you, Lord Regent. I appreciate that. It is a very challenging job. It never ends, but I'm doing the best I can, and my men are as well.
Arthur outside tells us that you're very stern. You lead with a strong hand. We appreciate that because we can see the obvious effects of it. However, we did receive some information recently that concerns us, and the fact that it's been going on for a while and this is the first I've heard of it makes it even worse. So I don't, well, hope you hold it against me that I'm here under no procedure. But I did kind of want to surprise you. We found out about this serial killer that's been going around attacking women. I wanted to make a proclamation to make sure women felt safe and warn them about him, but I was told that that might drive a wedge between us, which I did not want, so I visited you myself.
You are more than welcome to come here anytime you wish, Lord Regent. I serve at your pleasure. It won't drive any kind of wedge. I don't know who told you that. What I will tell you is that, yes, we have learned of these killings. We can't say we even 100% know for sure it's all the same attacker. It seems likely, but we haven't assured that yet with the evidence. I was concerned that if this information got out more broadly, people would start to panic. That obviously would bubble up to your ears. I was trying to do everything I could to solve this and keep people calm and not let the fire pot blow up, if you get my drift.
Aye. Well, the previous council may have not been much of help in these domestic situations, but I can assure you that your current chamberlain, he's one of the best men I've ever met. You bring information to Lord Dean, and I promise you, he will get it taken care of immediately. He is of that character. And I want to assure you that we are as well. We don't want information finding us only when it's become, well, a fire pot, like you said. Now,
I'm sorry, Lord Regent. I don't know who Lord Dean is. Could you tell me a last name?
Cathbad, he's the newly appointed chamberlain. I'm sure you'll meet him eventually. He'll probably come by. He likes to wander and meet people. It's part of what he does. In fact, I'll tell him that he should stop by and meet you when he has a chance. But nevertheless, could you give us some more information about these serial killings since they've reached us? Why have we not made it public?
Well, since we're here, it'd be great to hear the status of the investigation.
Well, first of all, understand that my responsibility here is to keep the men, their morale up, and to work on the patrols, investigate that sort of thing. There is another group of individuals that support the City Watch that are more the investigators, I suppose you could say. We do the hard stuff. We do the someone's trying to fight, we stop that. We do the arresting people. We do the breaking up brawls. We do all that kind of thing. But there's some other folks in the city guard here that are sort of, I guess, like attaches, you might think of them as, and they do more of the looking for clues, finding things out. It is between the two groups that we have determined what we have so far, which is that 3 individuals have been killed so far. They all seem to be of similar age, similar lifestyle, and similar manner of killing. So the folks who do this investigating, they're linking all of these together and calling it a serial killer. I can't disagree with them because again, this is very rare. We don't typically have killings like this, and when we do, it's one-offs. Someone got angry, or sometimes there's a hit. Unfortunately, that does happen, but never 3 like this. Never 3 very similar in all these manners. So I have to acquiesce and say that they're probably right that this is all linked.
And these attaches, they report to you, right?
It's complicated, general in a way. Yes, I guess you could call it a dotted line. Yes, I kind of work with them, but they have their own support structure. They kind of report up to another individual here who sort of is in the city guard.
Perhaps we should include that person in this conversation then.
Well, good luck with that. Unfortunately, they're not a regular here in the office. They kind of do their own thing. They have their own hours. They're not exactly embedded with us, but if you could track them down and speak with them, you certainly could. I have all of the information, of course, that they've presented to me, and it is my responsibility to track down and end these crimes. But if you wish to speak with that individual specifically, I certainly can try to get them here, but they're not like a typical city guard kind of person.
Well, the general here is looking to speak to as many militaristic figures of power as possible, so I'm sure setting up a meeting would not be a bad idea, Sergeant. However, look, we cannot have a 4th and 5th body show up on the streets and we do nothing about it except investigate. So maybe we tighten it up a little bit. I don't know if you need more funding or something along those lines if we hire more detectives. But we can't have a serial killer killing our civilians. It's
Um, can I
ridiculous.
make a suggestion, maybe?
Feel free, counselor.
What about like something in between? And what I mean by that is just say that we're investigating some crimes and people are encouraged to have escorts and things. Well, we don't really need to call them serial killers or murders, but at least maybe that'll help stem it a little bit without causing much of a panic. Just say we're investigating some crimes and people are best to go in groups and things and see if that helps a little bit in regards to making sure there isn't any additional.
Finn like nods his head. I like that. Sounds like a fair compromise, and perhaps, Sergeant, maybe we could have additional patrols through marketplace areas and bars where people frequently leave late at night.
We will take any additional funding that you have to offer, Lord Regent. As you probably know, the coin kind of trickles down here. My men are always complaining about their wages. They risk their lives. The pay they get is pretty low. Anything you can offer, I'm sure, would certainly help morale. If you have enough funds to hire some additional people, that would be great. I would honestly say that I'm maybe speaking out of turn here, Lord Regent, but I would say this chief investigator, he shouldn't be his own leader. He should be reporting up to me, if I can be so bold, and then I would have much tighter control over all of this.
Who does he report to?
Himself, I guess. When I've asked in the past, he tells me to mind my own business.
Tavern, maybe you'd want to take the lead on bringing some oversight to that
Well,
section.
I don't know about oversight. I think that would go to the Sonachet. Is that correct? Is that eventually? I mean, I guess, Lord Regent, that would be your decision on the chain of command there.
I think a clear chain of command is important. So yes, Zane, we'll issue this and make sure that anything involving any city guard should come directly through you, which in turn comes to us if necessary and you deem it a hazard or we trust you, right? That's what we're saying. We know you've been on the job for a while, but it needs to be better. We need a more concise chain of command. We've already had a petitioner come to us and complain about her captain in Riversford. So we cannot have this disruptive behavior in between our units. Does that make sense?
You see, he kind of hems and haws for a moment, and, well, yes, what you're saying makes sense, but of course, getting that done is a whole nother story, Lord Regent.
I think
There's
I think I'll be taking the head on that directive, Lord Regent.
Which is why she came along. Yes, I agree. But what were you saying, Zane? Go ahead.
Well, it's just that, you see, there's a lot of issues that occur in the city, and my men are stretched thin, and like I said, they don't feel like they get respect. Their wages are low. They just feel like they're kind of pushed around. So I'm sure they could be doing much better. They're not doing the best of the best because they feel like they're not valued by the people up top, and I've only got so many funds to spread around. So if you've got more coin to go, that goes a long way.
Aye. Well, see, we don't know about these issues unless they're brought to us, which is why that clear chain of command is important. We'll look into the funding of your city watch and see what we can do to increase morale as well, in addition to not just coin. There's a lot of new positions right now, and we encourage you to, if you can find time, of course, come to the next public petitioners meeting so you can see the council in action. You can see the steps that we're taking to make sure that the city is cleaned up and taken care of the right way. And finally, we don't want our own city watch to abandon posts or feel unwanted or allow crime to go on because they're not motivated to do their job. We want them to be proud of Carolinian, just like I am. So we'll look into this, and I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. But could you possibly do your best to increase patrols and let them know, perhaps, if the next victim is a sister or a mother or a cousin or daughter, it would then incur their attention. That is someone else's sister, mother, daughter, or whatever. So we need to make sure our citizens are taken care of, and our council will look into your funds. All right?
Yes, Lord Regent, and if I can just say, I would have brought this to your attention sooner, but under Count Entier, he always didn't want to hear any of the problems. He said, just take care of it. So This is new to me, but yeah, I will certainly make sure that issues get brought to your attention.
And you be sure that anyone you know in a similar position that makes decisions, if they feel like they cannot come to the council, we are not doing our job. So bring your problems to us and we will help you solve them. That's what we're here for. Okay?
He nods. I shall do so, and he stands. It was great to make your acquaintance, Lord Regent, counselors, General.
I'll shake his hand one more time.
He shakes it firmly.
Lord Regent, do you want Sergeant Morningfall to tell that other individual to come meet with somebody up there, and as soon as possible or something, so we can have that other conversation can be had?
I believe that's a great thing to do, yes, and probably go through Serena, considering she's your new general. So I'm sure she'll look into it deeper, and if you'll give us the information for that, what did you call them? The chairman?
He goes by the name Kelvin Von Hall. He's known as the chief investigator.
I look forward to meeting him. And in the future, I'd like to speak to all of the members of the City Watch at your next opportunity to gather them all.
All of them, General? If we take them all off the streets at the same time, there'll be nobody. I assume you mean in like groupings, right?
Yeah, whenever you'll be having the largest meetings.
I could break
I don't
them up
know.
into like a fourth at a time. That's as best as I can do. Otherwise, the streets aren't safe. So if you don't mind, if you can spend, come 4 different times, and you'll meet a quarter of them each time. Does that work, General?
Yeah, that sounds great. I think it would be a really good opportunity to convey the mission to everybody at once.
I'll send word to the castle as soon as I can get that arranged.
Great, thank you.
He
All
gives
right.
you a nod.
And I'll stand up and stretch. Well, we'll be off, Sergeant. We're sorry for disrupting your schedule, but we felt like it was important to meet you. And if you find anything that you feel is important to bring to our attention, I remind you, please do.
Anytime, Lord Regent, and I'm on notice. I will let you know as soon as I hear of things.
Perfect. Oh, and there may be a person or two that we commandeer from your unit or from the investigative unit here in the future for a public matter we need to finish. Just fair warning. And I'll walk
They
out.
yeah, as you're walking out, you hear him just say, "They don't report to me anyway," so and then just kind of fades away.
And I'll slap Arthur on the shoulder and say, "All right. Well, there we go. He seems like a nice man."
You notice he kind of Arthur gives you that like fake smile, like "Yeah, sure," but he nods. "Oh, okay, yes, Lord Regent, let's go."
Sounds like they need an org chart.
Yeah, no kidding.
Arthur, I'm beginning to see through that smile of yours. One of these days you'll pick up on my sarcasm. All right, well, Devard, Serena, I'm going back to the castle. Are you doing the same, or are you off on your own adventures today?
Let me see if I want to let you walk around with very little security. Yeah, I'm going with you. Come on, stop being silly.
All right, well, lunch then. Yeah, you want some lunch?
Another silly question. My gosh, how many are you going to come up with today?
All right.
I'm
Well,
definitely gonna do more investigation into the structure of these organizations that have come under my purview.
Okay, sure, you can do
Serena
so.
is liking her new job. She's like, oh yeah, I could do this.
PowerPoint presentation, slide 1, new org chart.
Employee of the month,
Yep.
councilman of the month.
All right, to try to move us along a little bit, then we'll assume you guys all get back to the castle. Still going through my list of tasks and things to make sure we have before we do the actual advancement of days. The other thing I had on my list was just to confirm with you all if there was any action you wanted to take on a previous petitioner. So again, reminder that full list handout is there for you under that post-meeting note. That's my best recollection of what you guys have decided, and if you're doing anything or waiting for anything. So just throwing that out there. Is there anything you guys want to do other than advancing days? And I might also throw out there just as a reminder, I know you guys still haven't tracked down Stinky, and some of you guys said you wanted to. So that might be something to do before you advance a bunch of days.
Yeah, I want him to live in the castle with us.
If no one objects to that, you can certainly try.
It's Finn's castle.
He's the
Yeah.
regent.
Who
But
knows?
first, we commission a little vest for him to be made.
And a cute little hat.
He's the unseen sixth council representative. In terms of the petitioners, Adam, the only one that comes to mind is that we may need to talk about is the expedition to find that. I can't find.
If you're referring to Mrs. Darkdraft, she's second from the bottom. You'll notice that you guys said itemized list of expenses. I've
Yes.
given you a little bit of forward notice there that she's not going to be submitting anything before the next council meeting.
Okay, so that one is not of importance. We told
The other
her to.
thing I remember was something about the garbage in the river. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
just looking for too.
We were gonna ask him if he knew what.
That's under private
notice.
meetings number 2. And what I've got there is my last note is you guys let Mr. Lamix know that you would see what you could do, and then you guys kind of mused, well, what if we reached out to Thosone and see if they know anything? But there was no actual action taken.
Well,
I think what we were-
presumably,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say presumably, if he was the same guy who petitioned Dosone, he might know what their methodology was, or at least what they said they were gonna do. So I thought we were gonna talk to him more to see what he knew about that before we.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Before he left, because I think he was gonna stay for a week. So before he left, Adam, we wanted to just see what plan was already in place by Doson, and then see how we could implement what they were doing to what we could do.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys want to summon him back and ask to speak with him privately again?
Yeah, we can do that before he leaves, I suppose.
Okay, so then just to kind of what I will say is I will provide more specifics for you, but that's going to be nothing that is super urgent. So is there anything else before we kind of advance the days to get us to the point where next session we'll be ready to take that next domain action?
I don't think so, because we can't really do anything with Usk now except learn a little bit more about Fomorians. So outside of other thing else, that one guy was showing his junk in public, so we're definitely not going to release him. Has the guy came back juggling daggers yet?
Nope, you'll notice a note there. He will not return before the next session.
Yeah, I think we're good to move on, guys. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think so too. I didn't see anything that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to kind of fast track some days. What I'm going to say here again is anything you wish to do, like Serena going to meet with the troops or learning more about that, just feel free to throw in Discord, say like, I would like to do this, and we'll handle that next session. But I'm going to go through some events really quick just to get you guys up to speed, and we're going to advance some days. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, excellent. So again, looking back into our calendar. So today is currently the 28th of Keltier. So I'm going to go through only up until the 4th, because that is your next meeting with the rep that you've asked for an expedited meeting. So with that in mind, on the 30th of Keltier, Cariele gets hit by a very severe thunderstorm and very cold weather. On the 31st of Keltier, Cariele experiences something known as celestial clarity. This is a very strange and very rare weather event where the sky is a very verdant, bright blue, and it almost seems as though this effect is like peaceful to people, and you get the impression people are in like a lot better mood and so forth. By the 3rd of the following month, which is Faniel, you guys are able to learn from Miss Esme West that after having spent significant amount of time with Minerva at this point, she has learned that Minerva went to the Eyeless One and asked him for a favor to bring back the glory days to her sect that is hidden away in terrain in the Five Peaks. The Eyeless One agreed to assist Minerva, but asked her to track down a white that was previously in his service, but then abandoned him. Minerva agreed and did what she could to look for the white, but was unable to track it down. All right, and then the next day, which would be the 4th of Faniel, we're going to pause there because that's when you guys are wanting to speak with the rep. So there are other, obviously, things that are going to occur after that moment. So with that, I'm going to calendar move us up to the 4th of Faniel. And when we come back next week, that will be the time to meet with the rep. As I mentioned, anything you guys would like to do in this time, go meet with subordinates. If there's anything else you wish to do, just let me know there in Discord, and we will take care of it off session.
Cool. Good session. No one died.
Well, people died off screen.
However, I did want you guys to start a fight in that inn so I could play my card, but I guess we'll save that one for next time.
No.
I don't think you can save a card for next time.
No, they do indeed get wiped away.
Well, you know what I mean. The next time that this card comes around, somebody can play it. It's a really cool green card I haven't seen used yet, so.
All right, well, with that suspenseful hanging in the air, hope everybody really enjoyed this session. We'll pick up again next week and continue up from there. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.
Enjoy. See ya.
Yeah,
Night, y'all.
Later, everybody.